All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tattoo Collecting Podcast. I'm Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, a place where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live events, real-world events, share and inspire to ultimately create better art and tattoos together every day. We beam out nearly every day with almost 3 to 7 awesome shows every single week that are happening live, on demand, and up for replay 24/7. So you can find us in the community. It's a free community at community.reinventingthetattoo.com, or we are also found in the App Store. We've got a free community app in Apple and Google Play. So either one of those places you can find us, see a lot of different stuff, as you will see right here. We have a full library of upcoming events. We've got the Tattoo Collecting Podcast having every week at noon on Thursdays. We've also got a Reinventing Drawing Group with Jason Leeser every Sunday at 1. All skill levels are welcome. And Jake Minks as well from our affiliate Fireside Tattoo Network, happening every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. We do have a couple more real world events that are scheduled. Finally, we're excited to be traveling next. Actually, in November, we will be going to Brussels for the Belgium International Tattoo Convention, as well as a BYOB event happening in Jiminy Peak on October 3rd to 6th with Gabe Ripley. So beyond that, we want to also highlight some of our sponsors, because thanks to them, we're able to offer all this cool program to everybody for free. So we have inkjet stencils. Pretty much everybody has heard of them for their high resolution stencil capabilities. If you would like a sample, we have more information in our app as well. Raw pigments, if you haven't heard of those guys, the view's a little bit crappy right here, but acrylic-free pigments, tapping right into the source. If you have any questions about them, Fawn, we can talk to you later in this episode about that. Dermalize Pro, they've got lots of healing capabilities for artists, known internationally as Dermalize Pro. And of course, World Tattoo events. Now, we just had Alex and Matt Gahn on the community yesterday doing a really cool interview about, the history of tattoo conventions and stuff like that. Alex did a live panel a few weeks ago. That was very interesting. He's interviewed people such as Mickey Violetto and tons of other convention promotion people that are really interesting to hear from. Beyond that, our affiliates, the Fireside Tattoo Network, Amy from the Apprenticeship Diaries, and ecofriendlytattoosupplies.com are supporting us as well. So if you want to take a chance to check them out, feel free. Other than that, today is episode number 41, and we were just talking about how time seems to have flown by, and that's a good thing, I suppose. We made it through coronavirus. But today we have a very special guest, and Emily will be here live from New York. And Jordan, Fawn, let's jump in and say hi to Emily.
Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, definitely. And hi, Emily. Thanks for joining us this episode.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you are a tattoo artist and a tattoo collector from New York. What's the studio you're at?
I work at Black Saddle Studio. It's a private studio. Yeah, in Sable on Long Island.
Nice. That's awesome.
So I practically live on Instagram, and I was just scrolling one day and I saw this insane person who just got tattooed from their armpit all the way down to their leg. And I was like, I need to talk to this girl. And I hit you up, and then I started, I was unfamiliar with you until then. And I've been excited to talk to you because it seems like you're equally passionate about both color work and black and gray. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds for me and Jordan.
Perfect.
To jump down all the rabbit holes.
Yeah, definitely love your geometric work a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, I personally don't like to tattoo color. I'm not there yet with all that good stuff, but I love to collect from all different artists and all different people. I like to see how it comes together. Literally, I just let people do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen you got a lot of bio work. You got a big bio leg.
Do you want to pull up her Instagram and do some screen shares?
Yeah,
while we're like jumping right into
the
collection.
Right. We're getting right into
it. For you guys?
Do what?
I can do that for you guys.
Oh, Emily sent us a bunch of pictures last night.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'll pull them up right here.
Yeah, my buddy Brandon Schulteis does a bunch of work. I work with him. Worked with him for probably 3 years now. So he did my knee, he did my inner thigh, and he did my rib piece.
So your rib piece is just a little one, if we can find pictures of it.
Just a little one.
It's little. There it is. Look at that.
Yeah.
Just little.
That's the start of it. It took us, it was, I think, 3 4-hour sessions or something like that, 3 5 hours, something like that, 5-hour sessions. So what we did is we lined out the first bit and then worked from the rib up to the armpit, and then came in a second time and then started at the armpit and then worked back down. And then the third one was that whole lower section and a little bit of the like meeting in the middle.
Okay. So a lot of that color was pretty much placed in one pass, or was there any sort of like gray or black and gray base at first and then color going into it?
No, he doesn't do black and gray base. I think he's essentially like bloodlines the entire thing and then just goes right in for color. He
Just
does
gets nice.
yeah, like nice and smooth at first, and then he goes and keeps adding more detail and more detail.
Oh, it's so sharp. I love this, like right up in the pit area.
Yeah.
It's just those big hooks are awesome.
Yeah, his composition's on point. I mean, that's why I let him tattoo. You know, such a large part of my body.
Yeah,
But
we're big suckers for bio here.
yeah,
That's for sure.
it's like the the upgraded tribal. You know, it's just such a cool way to get
Right.
movement in large areas.
It's like abstract realism. It's like what I like to think of it as.
Totally.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. It goes all the way down there.
yeah, it goes all the way to connect to my leg. So I wanted something not to cross over to the front plane because I'm still saving up for like a full torso piece, I think. But I still wanted that little connection because my back is all black and gray. So I wanted that connection from my color arm to my color hip. And I was curious about how the tattoo armpit thing would go. And honestly, it wasn't that bad.
It's not, the areas around the armpit are more painful than like
Totally.
inside the actual armpit. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's like the same if you ever like experience like tattooing anyone's belly button. Like it's all around the belly button. It's not the actual inner belly button that hurts. There's no like nerves in there.
I just blacked out a belly button. Well, it's not totally blacked out. I actually turned it into like one of the suction cups of a kraken's tentacle.
Cool.
So, but I was really worried about like getting into that belly button, and he was totally fine.
It's
Like
totally chill. It's they panic, and like I was like the first time I was like, oh my god, I have no idea how this feels. I don't have my belly button tattooed. The first one I did, he was like, oh, it's actually super cool. I'm like, oh, perfect. And since then, I've talked my clients into blacking out their belly buttons.
Nice. That's awesome.
I feel like belly buttons and nipples, you just got to tattoo over them. You just got to include them.
Just got to do it. Just do the nipple.
It sucks.
I'm a big believer in tattooing nipples because otherwise all you see is the nipple.
Thank you.
Like,
yep.
I don't want to.
Yep.
Sometimes I do strategically try to blend the nipple in where it won't have to be totally black. That's always nice. But
yeah, we had to just go for it on mine and just black it all out.
Yeah,
just solid black.
I'd want to look at a little pepperoni nipple in there. That like reminds you it's a tattoo.
Would have looked like another little like eyeball or like a giant pimple in the middle of my tattoo.
Have you seen Jordan's chest? Nathan Marty did it for him a few years ago.
Oh, cool.
He's got a black nippy.
This way. But
Oh, rad.
how big?
I love Nathan's.
Lovecraft piece. But
Yeah.
this. Well, no, not that one. This one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
just totally black.
Gotta be.
Oh, I'm glad I don't have to do it again.
Jordan says he had an out of body experience. I went ultrasonic. Like I made this shrill squeak that sounded like I can't even make the noise again, but it was so like it started out as like ha, and then it got so ultrasonic. I don't know. Crazy noise.
I don't think I breathed. Breathed. No, I didn't breathe for the entire time. I think I just held my breath and just kind of went into pain land. But it didn't last long, we probably got it done in like a minute or two, but still it was long. I realized just how 3D the nipple was, you tend to, I don't know, of course the nipple's 3D, but there's just like, it's a cylinder. There's all sides around like the areola and everything. And then you got the flat areas, then you got the other areas, then you got the tip.
Say that word again.
What?
Areola.
Areola.
It's just a nice way that you said it.
Areola.
It had a nice ring to it.
Nice. Well, thank you.
So you just participated in a really cool event that I followed the whole time you were doing it. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So essentially, me and my buddy Mick organized a 100-mile run where we started in Shirley and ran along, or I guess Long Island people will know what I'm talking about, but running from Shirley to Montauk Lighthouse, which is about 65 miles out, looping the lighthouse and running back and landing in Southampton for a total of 100 miles. And I had my parents and my family meet me every 10 miles to give me like water and supplies and all that good stuff. And we also had a bunch of runners help us along the way, because it ultimately took 27 hours. So it's a long way to run by yourself. So
I didn't realize that you had organized it.
Yeah, because of COVID and all that stuff. Like, there's only so many ultra marathons on Long Island,
Mm-hmm.
and figured why not? Like, how hard could it really be? And turns out, it wasn't that hard. It was just we just needed a lot of help. We just needed at least a good 5-6 people just to be there the entire time, just in case anything went wrong, or so I'm still running 100 miles from where I left my car.
That's true. That's a good point.
That's wild.
There's no just like hobbling back.
Right. Get Uber and stuff, but I wanted to be as prepared as humanly possible, because it was a huge goal of mine, and I would just have been devastated if I let something silly not let me complete it.
How long ago did you complete that?
That was on Saturday.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, she did this
Are you
thing.
sore?
No, I'm a little like, it just feels like I ran for a long time. Like, I didn't have any real muscle problems. So like, my muscles don't ache. My body's just like a little swollen. Like, I feel like a human marshmallow. Like, I just have like a little bit of fluff around me. But like, I ran this morning for the first time. And I felt great. I felt awesome. So
Good.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Our
Well,
buddy
go
Ben
you.
is
That's
back.
great.
Sorry,
Welcome,
guys.
Ben.
Sorry, guys.
Welcome,
No,
Ben.
podcast.
So she was just talking about her 100-mile event around Long Island.
That's amazing.
It was the coolest thing I've ever done, I would say. No doubt.
So is this something you think you're going to organize like annually? Or like, is this something you're going to continue to do?
No, I'm not crazy about like organizing things for a lot of people. Be introverted myself, and it was more of like a personal goal, and I just wanted to invite other people to join in on the experience. So I could see myself planning more cool runs around Long Island, kind of just for me and my friends and my close people, but not open up, because that's just like a lot of, I have a job.
A lot of questions to answer, a lot of people
Yeah,
to...
I already, like, it took so much for me to just organize a race for myself. And even like that liability of having other people running that I didn't really know their health, like anything could have happened, really. I didn't have an AED on me. I didn't, people are older, have pre-existing health conditions that I'm really, I didn't ask them about. I didn't have them sign anything. I just said, hey, like, you want to walk a couple miles with me? Because I'm going to be running for a long time, So I feel like the more you get into stuff like that and you open up the doors, like, the more trouble it is. So I just want to stay to my own and just, do cool stuff by myself.
Yeah.
You've probably said it a
Understandable.
few times, but how long was the race? How many miles?
It was 100 miles for 27 hours. Took me.
Insane.
That's amazing.
That's insane. I have a good friend that trains triathletes
Mm-hmm.
and does a lot of marathon running and things like that. And listening to their training camp and the things that they do to prepare for that blows my mind.
Yeah.
What was the hardest change for you in training? Like,
The hardest thing, and I think it's the hardest thing across the board for anybody, is consistently training at that level. So it's not about doing the training part. Like, that part's kind of fun. Like, the running part's the fun part. It's the foam rolling, it's the stretching, it's the hydration and the proper nutrition. Like, I don't drink alcohol right now because it's just such a detriment to any type of working out. It's straight up poison.
yeah.
So
When you bring up alcohol, I just want to bring up, like, we're all pretty much non-drinkers.
Yeah.
We all like value our body enough, like, even not being athletes, like, my brain is sharper, my hands aren't shaky, like,
Yeah.
Alcohol really, like if you drink alcohol, even just a couple of beers socially, your body's going to be in recovery mode the next day, even if it's just a couple of beers or a couple of shots or a couple of drinks.
I might like have a drink once a month. You know what I mean? Like
I've got a liquor collection, but it just keeps getting bigger.
Right.
Like I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's once it's gone, you don't really miss it, you know, and like
Mhm.
obviously
Right.
she and all these other fun things, like you can get by without it. And it's
Right.
really, like you said, like my mental is so sharp. Like I'm never hungover. I bounce out of bed at maybe like 5 a.m. every day, you know, and I feel phenomenal.
Mhm.
So
5 a.m.
Like I bounce out of bed at like a solid 8, but it's usually under protest. But my dog's so stinking cute. It's like, yes, I will
Reluctantly
get up and
wake
give you
up.
attention.
I was a breakfast chef.
Yeah.
I clocked in at 4:30 for years. I loathe getting up early.
My body makes
like
me get
my
up at 8
least
a.m.
favorite thing. Yeah, I'm up and out.
Sometimes I'll sit in bed for a minute, but like my mind's awake
My
right
kid's
away.
up
As soon
at
as my
6
eyes
starting.
open, my brain's on.
I'm like a solar charger. I just wake up with the sun. As soon as the sun's on, I'm like, okay, this is it.
Nice.
When I'm out west, I do. I think my body's set to like a natural, like Arizona, California clock, because when I'm out west, I am up with the sun and like without even trying. You
I think
guys
it's
know
really
I'm not
easy.
that
I
up
think
that
it's
early.
easy because I mean, of course, the time change, but like in reality, like when you're going out there, you get the jump start of the extra 4 hours. So like automatically, you're just set for being early. I love
Fair.
that. So it's easy to just create that habit right off the bat. I feel like I love that.
That's
That's
my
one of my
favorite.
favorite things about going out west is that like now I'm up with the sun. I can go out in the desert. I can do all my trips early as shit, and I don't have to worry about being groggy.
That's my favorite thing about backpacking.
At Hell City, I always
You're
wake up when the
You're up
coffee
with the
shop's
sun.
opening.
Yeah.
You're tired when the sun goes down. You go to sleep. Like, what'd you say about Hell City, Sam?
Oh, I was gonna say that's one of the funny things about Hell City is like I just naturally wake up and be like, I need a latte. And as I'd be walking down to the coffee shop, they'd just be opening up. So then I'd get like the one-on-one time with the girls at the coffee shop and we get to talk about the Biltmore and you know.
Give me them dates.
Where are the secret cubby holes? What do I gotta see?
Awesome.
Tell me more about the Catalina pool. Oh, I'm so excited. My imagination just keeps going to Hell City every time we talk about anything out
I think
Next
we all
year.
just need a vacation.
So that's exactly what
Yeah.
it is.
I'm due for some sunshine.
I'm going to Vegas next week, but this is a foodcation, so I'm really excited.
You're going to
about
Vegas next week?
Yeah.
For what?
that. So my buddy Clayton that I talk
Foodcation.
about, that's like the food nerd and also the custom boat painter.
Mhm.
Well, I go to Vegas with him sometimes for like auto shows and food shows, and this is a pizza show. And I guess the last 2 days is all weed.
Okay.
What a good
That's all I
Okay.
know.
Can
Pizza
they
weed? That sounds
Weed
good.
and weed.
Yeah,
pizza and
pizza and
weed.
Can we intermingle those days? Can we do weed pizza? Because that sounds amazing.
I feel like that's how I always live my life.
Well, I mean, just like get a fresh supply next day, go really high. Get a fresh supply next day. Go
So my
really
friend
high.
Clayton, he
I mean,
used
I
to
agree with
be-
that. I would say go there nice
he
and high
used to
each
be
time.
totally anti-weed. Like he just thought it made everybody stupid. But I think all the stoners he knew were not stoners. Like they smoked
Right.
weed and did pills and like all of the
Oops.
above.
Right.
Where like when he and I got close and then he's like, you smoke weed all the time. It's like, well, yeah.
And you function and you do your life and your job
Yeah.
and your responsibilities
now-
very well, huh?
10 years later, he's
Maybe it's the
dabbling.
person and not the weed.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly the conclusion he's come to. But he still won't smoke it, but he'll like vape and he loves edibles. So he wants to know now that he's about weed and he's a food nerd and a chemistry nerd, he needs to know all there is about making edibles, which will be fantastic. I
I'll
can't
think
wait.
of all the words
can't
you're
wait.
using. Food and weed.
Edibles.
Mm,
We were talking about the smokers. I could borrow one anytime.
yeah.
So it says,
Oh, that makes sense.
yeah. Are you a foodie also?
Not really, no.
What?
I mean, I like pizza, but who doesn't, you know?
I
That's
love,
fair.
I love pizza.
That's fair.
Like, I won't say no to like really good food, but I won't seek it out unless, you know, I happen to be somewhere. But
So
That's
so food is not the activity; it's a chore along the way.
Totally. And I got a risky stomach, so I can't be, I'm running a lot, I can't be doing that.
I'm
That's
sure
fair.
you're on a pretty.
That is really fair.
Yeah.
And the life of a tattoo artist in general, it's just not the best for having a healthy food schedule. And like, I'm not saying you don't have a healthy food schedule, but
It's always a
task.
conversation.
It's a
We
task
eat
to
like
overcome
garbage.
every
It's a
day.
task for everybody to overcome.
We either
because
eat like
we
garbage
all drive by McDonald's,
or we don't
13
eat at all.
times a day.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't eat till like 2, and I start working at 2.
When you wait to eat
Wow.
till you have the headache that tells you to eat, like, you should have eaten like 4
No.
hours ago.
No, that's not me.
That's me
I've had
sometimes.
3 meals by 2 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm a late eater. I'm a late eater, and that's just because usually when I get done tattooing, I'm ready. I'm relaxed. And I'm ready to.
I'll
eat,
eat
but
breakfast before I leave the house.
I can't eat a big meal in the middle of the day, or I'm gonna start getting tired in the middle of my tattoo.
And they get breakfast on the way to work.
I just got a funny stomach, so it's just hard to pound the food down before I start.
I'm just fat.
No, it's good. No. Eat food. I think breakfast is important.
I've been making myself eat before I go in, but I still always order dinner for my clients, and I really like just like taking that, however long the break is, to sit and have a meal together. It like lets their nerves settle down, and it kind of starts round 2 of our session. Just my days are really long with my clients.
What I like about meal break, because I'm like, well, you want to lather up some more of that numbing cream all over me and wrap my leg or whatever we're doing back up. Let's
Go right back to that head
let's
start.
let's let that
Right.
soak back in there for a sec.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of being numb. That's all I'm gonna
You
say.
like that? You like that marinating?
There's days I love my lunch breaks, but then there's those days that have have been happening more often.
Words.
Yeah, sorry, words are not working right now.
Mercury's in retrograde.
Retrograde Mercury.
Retrograding my mouth. Oh God. Yeah.
Careful with those innuendos. Somebody could be offended.
Fair.
Fair.
But what I was trying to say was that I don't know. My tattoos have been a big task lately. They've been big projects that I've just been like trying to get as much done. So we haven't been taking like big times for lunch and stuff. It'll just be like quick. It used to be like, cool, we'll take a whole hour, we'll sit and chill, we'll eat and all that. Now it's like I can't. I'm tapping my foot after 20 minutes. I'm like, all right, we gotta
Gotta
get back
get
at
going.
this. Yeah.
Gotta go.
You eat. All right. You eat.
Right.
Just keep eating, bro. It's your blood. Like, fuck it.
Oh man, I definitely when I'm getting tattooed, I know I look forward to those breaks.
Yeah, no, I really do.
It
I
depends.
really like them.
If we're working on something small that might take a few hours, don't get me wrong, this is 3-4 hours.
Just
or
knock it
whatever,
out and be
get that
done with
shit
it.
done. If we're on a day pace, if we're like, all right, we're gonna chip at this, let's take some breaks.
Exactly. Like if we're chipping away, like cool, we got all day to do this. And then, but if I'm like, sometimes I'll create a goal for myself where I'm like, all right, this has to be done by the end of the day. And that's where I'm like, shit, wow, I really got to get this done. Or it's a big ass stencil.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm like, I got to get this whole stencil on here before the end of the day. And this stencil is literally an entire arm of 1,000 lines.
Yeah, I work on milestones like that rather than hours. And it's like sometimes I'll like run down like my like, okay, here's our game plan for the day. Here's the order I want to do things. Sometimes I stick to that plan like dead bang. I get everything accomplished, check it off the list. Other times it's like, well, I'm gonna come do this thing over here. It all needs done anyways.
Gotcha.
But I definitely am a milestone, or like I'll set this percentage in my head where like say we've got something that's a 2-session project. I usually like to get to the 60% mark the first session. That way I can just take our time if anything needs like ultra scrutinized.
Didn't you get a humongous tattoo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you missed the beginning where we were showing her tattoo off.
Yeah, but it was
It's okay.
So behind you.
That's no, it's okay.
3 sessions, 3-4 hour sessions or 5 hours. Yeah, give or take. I'm not a break person though, and I'm not a meal person either. I just prefer to just
Zip right through your tattoos.
especially getting tattooed as well. I don't like to take longer breaks. I prefer to just get it done.
Right. Stay in the
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to take, I don't know, I try to take a break every 2 hours. And usually
that's how
my
I am
second
too.
break is my dinner break. So if we're at the 4 or 5 hour mark, usually people are all ready for dinner. And then, you know, if I want to go a couple, 2, 3, 4 more hours after that.
I'd say
My
5.
breaks
Like,
have been shortening though,
yeah,
big time. They went
if
from like 20 minutes to a half an hour to like 10 minutes now. I feel
Yeah,
like
if we're talking like a 4 hour session, you don't
can
need
get it done.
multiple breaks for that thing. Like maybe one stretch and finish, but like I work really long
for
sessions with my
7-8
clients.
hours. A
Right.
lot of times I see you work. Me, I've cut my stuff down to like I can't sit from my back can't sit more than 6 hours anymore. Honestly,
I don't tattoo for more than 5.
I just feel like I'm just like, all right, here we go. We're getting to the sweet spot now.
yeah,
at
I was
4 or
pumping
5
to those
hours.
7 to 10 hours out, especially when I first started at Red Tree.
Mhm.
Those first 6 months, like I was there till like sometimes like 6 in the morning, get done at like 4 o'clock in the morning, still be there hanging out for 2 more hours working on a painting or something.
I don't know. I
Now-
like those magic late night hours where
It's hard
like
for me
I'm
to
the
do that.
only one at the shop, or where it's like just me and Marty at the shop. I like those, but
I feel
those
that
have been
though.
my
I'm
creative.
on that
That's been my
page.
creative window since I was a little kid. Like that's my, I don't know. It's that like 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. is where I get the most focused, creative. Like you're gonna get the best work out of me, even if I am
Mhm.
tired. Yeah, that's where you're gonna get the best.
If I woke up at noon,
original stuff,
I could do my best, but like until like I could be up late like that. But I can't even like keep my eyes open past like 11:30, 12.
Oh, even if I'm up late like that. Sometimes I'll let my dog out, give her a little attention and go back to bed. Like I do give myself enough time that if I have a late night, I can at least rest my body, even if I'm awake.
Yeah.
But
I'm just a dick the next day.
What time do you like to start your days, Emily, when you're tattooing?
I like 11 a.m.
Nice.
Sometimes earlier. I mean, I'm a morning person. Like I said, like I bounce out of bed really early. I get like all my like self-care stuff in before, I would say like 9 a.m. and then I have to chill before work at 11, and I'm wrapped up by like 5:36 p.m. to be honest.
Nice.
And it's
Gives you a nice night.
Yep, and I can prep for the next day or whatever, get all my emails done, tie up loose ends, do my Instagram stuff, and then I'm like hands-free by 8, in bed by 10:30, do it again the next day. Pretty good.
Nice. That's a great schedule. That's the schedule I was on pretty much my whole career until about pretty much Red Tree. Made it a lot easier.
he was like, "What? I don't have to start early?"
Cool.
Flip-flopped.
Yeah, went to 3. Now I have my day up until 3, and then I get home and pretty much ready for bed.
Roofing doesn't start till 10. You know what I mean? Like nothing happens till 10.
PM?
No, AM.
The nocturnal roofers.
No.
Love
no,
it. That's the way I'd like to picture it, though.
Nocturnal roofer.
Yeah.
Could you imagine
I would murder you.
the way to make sure your neighbors hate you?
Murder you. That's obnoxious.
Absurd.
But I mean, like working, I did banquet halls as a chef. I was a breakfast chef at a hotel for a long time. And once you get in the swing of being up early, it's like you've got so much time. And now I'm like, sleep is awesome.
Back when COVID happened and tattoo shops got shut down, I immediately ran out and got a factory job where my sister worked because I was like, what are we going to do?
I need to make money.
Yeah, I didn't know how long it was going to last. So anyways, I have not had a job that I had to be up that early in so long. Like I had to leave my house by 6 a.m.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where like I knew where the sunrise looked most beautiful and like what places I wanted to be passing at what time to catch like, oh, if I go past this little creek at just the right time, it'll look like this. The earth is splitting open and on fire. It's great. So there were some cool things about being up early. Like I don't know. I think I was in college before I saw my first sunrise.
Oh my God.
My favorite thing about getting up early is
I think so. Like deliberately actually watch the sunrise. Like I've definitely been up before the sun came up and I stayed up all night and seen the sun, but actually like deliberately watched a sunrise. Like I've seen so many sunsets.
Were you reborn?
No, but maybe
real deep, real fast.
I don't know. Maybe that's why I've got such a weird love for Detroit. I don't know. I grew up in West Michigan, so we always had sunsets, but Detroit has really nice sunrises. it's the East Coast, West Coast thing, but the dirty mitten.
Yeah, we as kids we got up early all the time. We used to hate sunrises because it's like, no, I can't sleep in the car.
Nope.
Yeah.
I am a night owl. Definitely. I've always been a night owl for sure.
My mind shuts off at about 11.
When I was young, I always hunted, so it was like what my family did. So I was always getting up super early. So I've seen a lot of sunrises doing that. I think that's what gave me my sunrise experiences when I was young.
Have you always been an early riser?
No. I just found that it's better for my mental health, Like if I can stay up to the wee hours of the morning, but I'm just useless and depressed,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So to keep up my health, all of like my healthy habits and keep running and keep my brain, on point. It's just one of those things where I just know it's just better for me. But, I've started working. I started at 12. I started at 2. I worked, until 12 a.m. And it's just like, I don't know, like I just find myself falling into those bad habits of just not taking care of myself, eating like trash, like not getting proper sleep, not caring about being outside at all, just becoming just a hermit. So
is everybody at your studio pretty health conscious?
Maybe not. They're not like crazy, like partiers or anything. Like we're pretty mellow, but I wouldn't say we're like health nuts. We
I feel like at Red Tree, we've got the benefit, like Derb's incredibly health conscious all the time. And then like those of us that are kind of health conscious in our own way, we're always encouraging each other to hydrate. We're always encouraging each other to stretch. We're always encouraging each other, like, back care and like
it's
massages.
Definitely a healthier place. My other shop that I worked at prior, like they would just order like chicken fingers before every day. And I would just have fried food constantly. It's just like it was cool and it was a nice bonding experience, but I just couldn't, like my stomach was just shredded and I gained like 30 pounds in 2 years. So I moved studios and they didn't do that. They, brought their lunches and I was like, oh, this is nice. I can be my normal person again,
The tattooer bod.
Yeah. It was
egg
real.
shaped.
Yeah.
I'm in shape. It's just a pear.
Tis a shape.
Pear is a shape.
Tis a shape. So one of the things that I thought would be really cool to talk about is kind of like as collectors, the mental fortitude that it takes. And one of the things that I really like working on athletes because they have the mental fortitude to like just sit and like, they're always like, the goal is this. So the better I sit, the faster it is to being over with. And so I thought we should just kind of talk about some of those experiences, like some of the things that like, get us through the rougher sessions.
Yeah. I think there's a huge parallel between people who can tolerate their pain management and how to use that almost as fuel and motivation, as opposed to people who are in pain. They just start to panic and they start to kind of freak out about how much pain they're in and how long it's going to last. And, they just start to get like agita. But athletes are expecting that pain and they know that they have to perform regardless of the pain. You know what I mean? So it's just that simple switch of a mindset where it's not whether or not the pain's going to exist, because obviously it's existing. It's how we deal with it and how we're able to keep our body calm while we're under such duress, which I try to tell my clients. Some people aren't there yet, but athletes are helpful because I can at least say like, pretend like you're in like a middle of a really tricky training session. You know what I mean? Like, where's your mental state? Like, you probably want to tap out, but is that beneficial? Can you get to where you're going if you just give up like that? And
Absolutely.
normally it shakes them up.
I train jiu-jitsu, and one of the hardest things is to teach somebody to be calm in a stressful situation. And it's like, yeah, it sucks. We're all trying to choke each other. Like, that's what we're here for. You freaking out isn't like, you have to force that calm. You have to force that mindset of me spazzing and busting through this isn't going to change anything. And it makes you slow down and it makes you work through duress. And it really changes the way you look at situations now. Like, oh, let me just be patient for a second. cool solutions. And it's I don't know, it's something you can't teach someone without doing it.
Right.
I don't know how to explain.
Some of the coolest collectors, and just like anything else, like some of the coolest people are the people who can keep their mind and still enjoy the scenario while you're in pain. You know what I mean? Like, I love getting tattooed. I love collecting, but it wouldn't be nearly as fun if I bitched and moaned the entire time. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to see it where, like, the best collectors, they enjoy getting it tattooed. You know, they enjoy the entire process, and you can feel it like radiating off of them. And then you have the people who still want to be collectors, but just struggle through the entire bit. You know, you can see them.
That's me.
Mhm.
That's me, 100%. I just struggle through it.
So
I apologize a lot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
There's so much missed when you're panicking, when you're tensing up. You know, like, there's so much of the experience that's totally missed. It's such an opportunity to see how much pain you can tolerate with it, like, becoming almost laughable. You know, like, that's how I kind of see any type of long session. You know, like, anything past 7 hours it's gonna hurt really bad. You know what I mean? There's just no way around that. But I think just switching that to being like, well, first of all, tattoos have never killed anybody. Like, the actual
That's one of the things I
Right.
tell myself all
Like,
the
I'm gonna
time.
be okay.
Nobody's ever
I'm
died
gonna
from
okay.
this.
I'm gonna be okay.
one's gonna die.
It's gonna be over in a little bit. It's like a bad trip.
Right. You know exactly where the pain's coming from. You know, like, all of the scary things that pain can hold, like, you know, like, when you get like the weird stomach pains or the weird headaches, you're like, oh my God, it's cancer. You know what I mean? Like, tattooing is like, no, it's just tattooing. You know, like, it's just tattooing.
Superficial.
And then you
Stop.
remind yourself of like what's really happening, like, because
Yeah.
it feels like the needle is so deep, it feels so incredibly intense in that area, but you're like, it's like me, I think, like, when I'm getting my back tattooed, and then I'm like, oh yeah, but really that needle's really not that deep, but it feels so deep, and like something about your brain just says, like, this is like kind of wrong, like, it's a
Right.
feeling, it's a feeling that, like, I shouldn't be feeling right now. It's like, it feels like an attack, so you have to just like cool that
Yeah.
down and remember, like, no, it's just this little graze. And like, I don't know, thinking about things like that for me actually helps the pain a bit. It makes it not feel
Totally.
as much, because it's like the instinctual panic thing comes up, but then it's like, no, it's not that bad, not that deep.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you watch
Like,
someone tattoo and you're like, oh my God, that needle is so fucking deep right now. What the fuck are they doing right now? It looks great, but fucking ow. Oh my God.
Yeah. I tell my clients all the time, like, just let it wash over you, and let it, like, really try to evaluate, like, what it feels like. Cause most people are just fighting the feeling. But once you actually let it just like wash over your body, it's like, yeah, of course it hurts, but I'm not gouging your veins out. You know, I'm not like snapping your limbs in half. And also, like, there's worse pain, you know, there's worse things. So this is a beautiful art collaboration. So it's tricky to,
Right. And a chance in life to give yourself the mental fortitude to, like, if you don't have it, here's a nice chance to train it, because what better way to learn anything than to be kind of thrown in the fire. You're forced to, you have no choice. But if you got like my back tattoo, like, I've got 4 sessions deep, each time is like 8 hours or so, like, you got no choice but to figure out pain management in your head, because you got to do it, you got to get through if you want it finished. So you just for every big tattoo, you have to come up with that. But I feel like it really helps in other areas in people's lives. I'm sure I can't pinpoint what those would be, but just in terms of creating a thing in your head to be able to deal with pain.
You paid for this. You paid for this. You paid for this. You paid for this.
I like that Emily called it a collaboration. I like to think of every tattoo that I do as a collaboration between me and my client, because, I mean, yes, I'm doing the work, but it takes so much work and so much mental strength to like overcome, and just like to overcome that fight or flight. Like, we all want to get up off the table. We all don't want to be in pain, but like, it takes a certain kind of psychopath to be like, no, this is totally going to be worth it. This blows so hard, but it's going to be so worth it. Like, as much as you want to just like curl up into a ball and cry and not be touched ever again, when that session is over, you get up off of the table, and you might be beat up, you might be vulnerable, you might be broke down, you might be like PTSD. But when you get up off of that tattoo table after a long session, you're a different person. You're stronger. You now have overcome another thing. So that makes other traumas that much more superficial. You know, I look at injuries now where it's like, oh man, I've endured way worse than this. Like something that I would have just like whined and moaned about when I was younger, and I've endured so much more at this point, you know, like everything just, it's so much easier to just look at things as temporary and power through.
Mhm.
And I think
You know what I
they
mean?
transcend to any aspect of your life. Like you were talking about how, or at least, you know, like how you wanted to get back into cycling, or like running's hard. Like a lot of people think running's hard. And like, sure, running's hard. Getting tattooed's hard. You know what I mean? Like a lot of things are hard. It's the same, it's that same mental thing where it's like, well, if I go for a run, my legs start to hurt, do I panic about it? Do I think, oh my God, my knees are about to explode and then I won't be able to walk forever, so I should just turn around and go home? Like, or I just say, okay, that's an interesting feeling. Like, let me ride that out. Let me feel how we're feeling and do a proper evaluation of it, so my subconscious doesn't totally take over and freak me out, and make sure that I only do 2 miles instead of 10. You know what I mean? Like it's if you can build your brain up to think, yes, everything's just how we get through this moment. You know, everything is just how we get through this next level and how we handle it, not just screaming and fighting through it, but like with a little bit of composure,
Grace,
respect,
a little
for
bit of
your- yeah,
grace,
a little bit of
dignity.
grace.
I just hold still and cry softly.
I mean, one of the things that I think really gets me through some of my tough sessions is the amount of gratitude that I have to be going through what I'm going through. And that's a really weird thing to be like going through one of the worst pains I've ever had in my life, but also be so full of gratitude just for having the opportunity to like,
I think
oh
that's
my God, Russ Abbott knows my name.
Yeah, I mean that is so much of what gets me through it. It's like the excitement for the art that I'm getting can literally like transcend it all. Like I will go through anything at any place in my body, as hard as like whatever it took to get that piece of art that I'm getting, like, you know, for the piece that guy's doing on me, like whatever that was going to feel like, I didn't really care. I just knew I wanted that piece of art. So each day I don't know. I start it and I'm like, oh fuck, this fucking sucks. This fucking sucks so bad. But it makes it so easy to get through because I know how fucking dope it's gonna be. Like I'll go through, and I would go through it for 20 hours straight.
Back sessions in particular were my easiest way to zone out, because most of the time you're able to be in a position where you're either face down or in a chair to where you're like, and you just shut your eyes, go limp, and just.
Yeah, Guy definitely made it really easy to sit there, though. I mean, he's got a special situation. Like, he just got his giant windows you can look out.
Yeah,
It's the most beautiful backyard. You know, just being able to sit forward like this was really nice and not be uncomfortable the whole time. So I kind of just put my face in the pillow or distract myself with something. Mm-hmm. I think for me, I'm a big mental distraction person. I'm not a like sit and meditate on the pain. Like, I can meditate on the pain, but like it just makes me focus on the pain. I want to like, I do have a few funny meditation things that actually help me a lot. Like, I'll do mudras. I'll just like literally just like push my fingers together and like think about the pain and send that pain to my fingers. And like, it actually helps a lot. If I do it on both sides, if I do it on one side, it'll totally lopside my pain and make me go fucking, you know, it'll make it wild, but it like balances it when I do it. And it's just something I created in my head, like while I do it, and it always works to some degree. And I know if I'm not doing it, I'll go a little wild and I'll be like, oh no, just come back, do it again. And then it'll like center me.
I do this weird thing where I flex my foot and I don't mean to do it. And then I'll look down and be like, your foot's flexed. And you're like, okay, relax.
So I don't know how many times Adam was tattooing me and I'm like, oh, Adam, you're making my toes curl. And it would be to the point where I'd been like curling my foot to the point where like I had Charlie horse wherever like he was tattooing. So it would, like, my whole lower calf would just like knot up. Oh, they're curled too long.
You know what I did that helped a lot that I never did before. I've never tried or even thought about it, but until I seen someone else do it at Guys, was paint while tattooing and getting tattooed. And that helped so much. Painting while I did it. I can't sit and be like real soft with things and all that, but I found myself just like doing quick shit, just like being like, just like fucking getting it out. But just like having this circuit for doing something
to get the energy
even
out.
if the painting looked like shit, like just having, I just like pushing that paintbrush to the thing, even if I wasn't even making something. I could have been doing it without paint, but the fact that was happening, that my eyes were seeing things, and then I'm like, oh, this shape here and all this here, all that was so much. It took my mind away from the pain so much. But there was another side of it to where if I really cared about that painting, it just would have made me really upset. Like, you know, it had to be super loose, and it's
knew you were
just
doing
for
it
the
for-
sensation,
yep.
you know, it's just all about the sensation of just like having an energy outlet,
It
taking the
might
energy from
a
my
lot
back
to-
to my hand.
I think it might speak a lot to your comfort zone and where you find comfort in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I just
I
like
can
to
feel
be
that.
really stoned. So that's why like the 4 or 5 hour mark for me is like, okay, smoke session's worn off, my edible's worn off that we ate halfway through. I need to wiggle.
You know, I
Let's
find
refresh
that
dust.
after a couple of hours, people are just stiff. Like, no matter what, just sitting in the same position for that long. As tattooers, we get stiff, our backs, our shoulders, our hips, everything gets stoved up on us.
Yeah.
Clients are equally as uncomfortable after a couple of hours, even if they're not complaining about it. So that's one of the things I try to be mindful. Like, we all need to get up and move around. A lot of my clients don't stretch with me, but I encourage them to. We've got like the roller balls and things.
Right.
I wish more clients would like hang from the inversion, or not the inversion straps, but the traction straps. Some
Just
do.
Keep your open tattoo off of
Mhm,
our
yeah.
training equipment.
I wouldn't invite people with arm tattoos to hang off of it.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Come on,
I put
man.
My face on
And-
that stuff.
You know, I package people like they're raw meat.
No, I'm just, just gotta think about it.
You do got to think about stuff like
I
that.
don't want people's goo on my face.
It's fair.
I
It's
don't.
fair. You shouldn't
Like,
have
if people
people's
are out there
goo.
on the mats,
Yes,
and
then-
like,
I mean, it's fair.
I stretch on that.
yeah, my face on those things. I don't want your arm goo on my face. Sounds very hepatitis C or whatever.
Sounds very Hep C.
Hep C.
No open wounds on your stuff. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
I know. I don't. I just
You know
was
how we
saying it out
roll.
loud.
We keep it
So
sacred.
we knew that
Keep it
everybody
sacred.
that was
Keep it safe.
listening, we
Sacred,
weren't out there
safe.
rubbing juice on the.
Don't even
equipment.
put shoes. We don't even put shoes on them.
You better.
I
Again,
sometimes
You
step on the corner.
better.
put my face on that stuff. Keep
I
your dirty blue
sometimes
shoes
step
off
on
my
the
face.
corner, but I try not to. If you see a shoe print that looks like a size 8 Converse,
I'm busting out my tape measure, taking a picture of it. I'm bubblegum Nancy
Ooh.
Drew and all over
So I'm.
measuring shoes.
Let's share some more of your pieces on your body. All the ones you sent. That's your work on your body, right?
Yes, yes.
Cool.
we're probably going to creep on your Instagram too and check out your work and share it as
Yeah,
well.
we are.
Mm.
All right. Let me get-
Go really fast so I get dizzy. That's my favorite thing. Look at this huge screen while I make it swirl.
Swirl around.
Oh,
Getting tattooed.
Yeah, that's Lindsay Baker. She's tattooing my cat Max in a winter camping scene on my Achilles. It's one of my-
Nice.
nice.
Yeah,
Big fan.
yeah, there he is.
Yes.
Aw,
Oh, that's awesome.
love
at
it.
that little
Love the
vampire.
kitties,
Oh,
of course.
vampire.
Yeah, it's
Is that,
rad.
is, that a, is that a teepee in the background I see?
It's a little tent. I love that.
Aw.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, this was so I did this. There's another picture where I did this on myself. I picked up a new machine maybe in 2017 or 16, and I did like a whole thigh tattoo on myself, and then I went back after quarantine and re-updated it.
Very cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks great.
Thanks.
Wow.
I made a rule not to tattoo myself because I don't think I'd do that good of a job on myself.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did the rose on myself with my first rotary machine. It was a Halo back in 2016. I think that's the tattoo I'm going to get removed though, and put my other cat's face over it.
Nice.
Yeah,
I used to use the old halos. You're gonna
Yeah.
get your cat's face over it, you said?
yeah.
After you get it removed? That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's just me doing it after quarantine. I think we were out of work for like 103 days or something, so I just wanted to dust the cobwebs off before I started tattooing my clients.
Nice.
That's
Who
amazing.
did the whole leg?
That's Brandon Schulteis on the name.
Okay, him too.
Yeah.
I
So
just love
dope.
his bio, man. He's always been one of my favorites. His forms are just so big and graceful.
Totally.
I really
Hell yeah,
like
palm
graceful
tattoos.
bio.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Love that red against all that gray.
Open the palm tattoo.
Look at those
Yeah.
sharks.
That's Mark Walker. He's
Yes.
originally from the UK, but he's out in San Diego at Grand Reaper. But he was doing a guest spot at Bang Bang a couple of years ago. So I was like, oh, I gotta get it done. I have to see how he did it, because like I was trying to get into the palm stuff. They kept falling out, and I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? These lines are so clean. They heal up like perfect, and he just blasts you.
He puts it in there.
So it was that ranks my most painful tattoo, 100%.
Okay.
I've heard that before. That's why I was pumped to see it.
I want to
Yeah.
have Derb do my palms and fingers like that.
I
I'm
think
just not
I've-
100% sure I want what I want on the other hand. I just want to get them all done at the same time.
I think
Yeah.
that's just gonna fall under I've got enough. We can leave that spot blank.
I want my fingers to say high road, just like hers say patience. I want mine to say high road. That's exactly what I want it to look like.
Nice.
Yeah, my palm was. Yeah, it's been so long since I got mine done. That hurt. Have you? Does it look? How does it look now?
It's blowing the fuck out, to be honest. You see how the residuals?
Uh-huh.
But I got stay kind by another artist that fell out a little bit, so I got to get those blasted. But honestly, everything's in there. It's just there's these like residual ink blowouts.
That'll
Oh.
probably absorb over time. How long have you had it?
What is that? That was.
Couple
It's
years.
so hard because they don't count as I get confused about the quarantine thing, but I think that's 2019. So yeah,
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah, I bet 2 more years from now you won't even see any of that blowout.
Oh yeah,
I bet. Yeah, I bet it'll just keep getting
Yes.
lighter.
yeah. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I had a lot of blowouts in my hand, honestly, from when I did my hand. Like I did my hand before. Like it was some of my first tattoo I ever did was this thing. And here, I'll put it on here.
You tattooed your own hand?
Yeah, that was like the first one I ever did. Definitely hard to see. I went
The
over it
first
like
tattoo
3
you ever
times.
did, or the first palm tattoo you ever did?
It was like probably the first like 3 tattoos I ever did. And I did it on myself. It's like 10
You
years
guys are
10 years
nuts.
ago. I don't tattoo myself really anymore.
Or I guess you don't have to stretch it. You just
Yeah, I mean it was an easy, like the easiest spot, but definitely faded and was gone the first time I did it. And then I did it again, and then I did it again. I could probably go over it again, but there's definitely a lot of blowouty areas. And honestly, some of the lines, are just not, they're not great, but there's not a lot of like the bleeding,
Yeah.
the cloudiness around the line. Like that's gone.
I tried to tattoo the bottom of my foot, and I had the same like similar experience. Like half of it's gone, half the lines are in, half of it's like blown out, like all sorts of weird ways. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Wild.
inside of my lip did the same thing. Half of it's bold as hell, and the other half's like, yeah, kind
Kinda
of
there.
says that.
Yep.
But I mean, the point.
We'll have to run over that again.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying I will. I mean, I will if you want. If
just
you want me to.
Sounds like you just volunteered to tattoo inside my face.
I just mean all these tattoos that are fading in general.
It's one of those things though. It's like, do I care? Do I care enough to fix it?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I think I want the color side of my head rehit. I want to,
Yeah.
it's got like a blue violet is the background, but I think I want to have like Bermuda blue blasted behind all of the fractals so it matches my back. So just be like a slightly
Well,
different.
add a little
color
shade to it,
change.
add a little shade to it.
It also would just be an excuse to go see Carissa and get worked on again. Like, so how are things up here?
I've missed you.
Yeah, she did my very first tattoo, and then I went back to her several years later to do my head, and now she's since relocated her studio. So I just kind of wanted an excuse to go and check out the new studio and blast more blue into my noggin.
Nice.
So this is Gabe Blondus up in Salem, Massachusetts.
He's so stinking good, man.
He's unbelievable, and he's such a nice guy. I really like all the people over at Ninth Room Gallery. So I reached out to him. This is my last large area on my leg, and I wanted, his skulls are just unbelievable. He's a skull collector. He's got a bunch of different cool references, and he really just takes his time and makes everything just. I mean, I'm 5'9", so my legs are pretty long. Like this is a massive skull.
Insane.
So this is back-to-back sessions. This is about 16 hours of work, and this is the first time I met him. Obviously, like the stencil is still there, but I think right now all of the skull is finished, and I just have to get my ass cheek blasted. There's a rose back there.
Oh,
Oh, the cheekies.
cheeky suck, man.
Yeah.
Cheeky
It's
suck.
okay. You'll live.
You'll live. You may
You'll live, but eat your Wheaties that day.
Honestly, I'm not worried about it at all. Yeah, I just need to get up there. We had an appointment, and then COVID happened, so I'm trying to get up there in October and work a little bit. We have a collab on a client up in Maine, so I really like all those people. Just Brown and Mattress Skull are rad as hell. They just cool stuff up there. But yeah, this was Gabe's a really, really nice guy. He's like very like just genuine. You know, I think he's been tattooing for a little less than 10 years now, and like really has his own approach and his own views on it, like how his client should be treated and how the process should be. And you know, it's really beautiful. It's a really nice thing they got going on up there.
Very cool.
Being in a nice environment makes it so much easier to be able to fall into that relaxed, comfortable, non-twitchy.
100%.
And it's tough sometimes. Like we've talked about it here before. Like if you're getting tattooed in a busy shop or a street shop, and you're constantly distracted by people coming by, or you're in a tattoo convention, a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people like that solitude and that quiet time to be able to go inside, if you will, to go in your mind. But I mean,
Oh, I see now why she's not worried about that rose on her cheeky.
oh yeah,
She's already got the other cheeky.
been there, done that.
All right.
So who's doing this piece?
This is Nick Fierro on Long Island. He's a geometric blackwork tattooer. It looks like this goes like pretty much over my ass, but it really doesn't. It just kind of touches the top of it.
Okay.
But this was I think it was 10-hour sessions. This is when he worked at a street shop that was open from 12 to 10, and he had to stay till 10. So we made the best out of that time. And he was fast. I mean, like 60 hours for a back piece isn't bad. So I was thrilled with how it came out. And that's the last session. What he's doing is he's adding black shading over a bunch of patterns to try to get some depth and such. So he did all the outwork first, and now he's just going back over with the 23 mag and just blast.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I also have a dot work cheek toucher mandalas on my back.
Sick.
Yep.
Yeah, this
Very
piece
cool.
goes all the way up to my neck. It has a little like.
It's super rad.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
There we go. I was like, I'm just waiting for the next.
Dang.
Jeezy.
Yeah.
All right, you get your G card.
Yep. Stamped, certified.
No, that's amazing work too.
Yeah, I got this piece done before I finished my sleeve or even started my leg. This was my first it's like, all right, I'm in the tattoo world. Let's earn some stripes, you know?
Commitment.
Are you going for full coverage? Is that your goal?
I don't like to put a label on anything. I'm really not committed to. Right now I have 50% of my body tattooed. So like besides the inner bits of my hand, like my whole arm is clean, my whole front is clean, and my whole right leg is clean. So I have like some bucket list tattoos that I want when I'm a little bit older, but I also have this weird feeling that I'm either going to like the tattoo artist that's meant to do my other side isn't born yet or isn't tattooing yet, or maybe I raised them myself. Like, I'm not sure. So I just want to keep my options open.
Okay.
Nice.
Like, I like getting tattooed so much that I like thinking about stuff so much and on a bigger scale. So that's half of my inspiration for even when I'm tattooing and when I'm designing, because I have my right arm clean. I'm like, damn, what would be like a really, really awesome like geo flower mashup that I would wear? So I would just start doodling on my arm, and like that's how I get to where I need to be, you know? So I feel like if I take that away, it takes away my process.
Interesting.
That's
I like
cool.
that though.
That's really cool.
I like that.
Room to work.
I definitely think about that a little bit when I'm drawing tattoos and thinking about like, is this something that I would get tattooed? Like maybe I don't necessarily want this idea, but like, would I get this design wise like tattooed on me?
That's a criteria that
Like
all
with
of
the
the
fit
work
and the
I
flow.
do has to meet. It's got to be something I would be proud to wear, and I'm pretty stinking proud of my collection. You
It's
know
like
what I mean?
If I draw something and I'm like, I wouldn't put that on me, like it'll bother the crap out of me.
Never.
Yeah,
Never.
like just like
I remember after my daughter was born, it was like, okay, let's get a cool tattoo for your kid. And then it was like, but where? How are we gonna? You gotta pinch that in somewhere. I don't want an upper thigh daughter tattoo. Like that's weird. Like, so yeah, it was one of those things. Like maybe should have had a little more conscious thought about leaving available space or.
Sure.
But I didn't. Last one.
I like to get tattooed when I feel like a different person, kind of.
Mhm.
You know, and I feel like I like to mark that. Like we've gone through this thing, and now we need to get a little bit more fancy. You know, our skin needs to look a little bit different. You know, you just like almost like a journal without words. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have my arms saved and my belly saved. I've got ideas for those. And then outside of that, all I've got left is from my knee down on my left leg.
Dang.
That's all
Yeah.
I've got left open. Like
Well,
I'm not super
yeah,
covered yet. Like my arms are still bare, but like I have these ideas. So that real estate is spoken for. So
Right,
in my head,
it's
that's not available until I cross paths with, said
correct
artists,
person.
Nika, and put color all over it. Just make it yours. But the idea for my right arm, and I've got my hand done, but my idea for my right arm is to do like just a big bio collaborative piece with like 5 or 7 artists, like make it a destination trip and film it and,
Cool.
like go through like the whole collaborative process and how like designs change and ideas change and things just flip flop and twist and like, how the, if you've worked collaboratively, you know how it goes.
Totally. Yeah. That's awesome.
But I just think there's so much magic in collaborative tattoos, and it like there's magic in a tattoo or any piece of art. But when you get like 2 people's magic minds working together, it's not just twice as special. It's like exponentially as special because that spark, that same spark from those 2 different sources will never happen again.
Totally. Yeah.
It's that much more like one of a kind, but could never be done again.
Well, what you get, I think, is people reacting on like a totally authentic level. So once you get that pure collaboration, it's not like, I want to look like this person, I want to do this, I want to do that. It's an artist who truly wants to give their best work and a client who really wants to give that opportunity to that artist and also benefit at the same time. So like that authentic bringing together, it's the rarest, most beautiful thing in the world in the tattoo industry. And it's so overlooked because people want that tattoo and they want it right now and they want it like that guy on the internet, and like that's cool, but it's not really, it's just a different level of tattooing, like there's street shops and stuff, and then there's collectors, and there's proper collectors who really take the time to look for that interaction, because even if the artist is exactly what you want on paper, it might not be the artist for you anyway, and then people take that rejection as a harsh no, but honestly, it's a blessing in disguise because you're going to find the right artist eventually.
That's a really good point that needs to be made more often, because I feel like every artist, the majority of the artists that have worked on me, it wasn't like I just walked up to them and was like, hey, you want to do this tat for me? That's not how it went. Like it took patient, polite persistence to like get these artists to work on me. But like, once we got together and once the project started and once the project took on a life of its own, then there's like that learning that happens, almost that like shamanic transfer of energy between artist and client. Like I'm learning just from being in their presence. I'm becoming a better artist and a better person just from being around them and just absorbing their energy. And I feel like that's not necessary to get a tattoo, but when you're getting like a large tattoo or a whole limb or like a large portion of your body, whatever the image is, those experiences are going to change you as a person. You're going to walk away from that tattoo by the time it's said and done. You're going to walk away from that tattoo a totally different person from when it started, just because what you're going to go through with the tattoo, but also the growth in your life. So I think, you want to have the right person to go through that journey with. Like, it's not just a matter of like, I want this artist to work on me and that's it. It's like, no, why do you want that artist to work on you? Like, what's the pull? And sometimes it's kismet, and that artist was meant to work on you, and universe brought you together, and it just took patience, and I just think that connection is really important. And that's, you know, Ben and I are close enough that he hears me complain about like clients that kind of like come at me the wrong way. Like not to sound arrogant or anything, but it's like, come on, man, I've got people that treat me good, that value my time and are nothing but pleasant. You know, why should I move you to the front of the line because you're pushy?
And
You know?
I it's like a huge thing to be in control of who you interact with on a daily basis, because you essentially become your environment. You know, you become the people who are around you. So when I don't say no to, I mean, I don't say yes to a lot of people. I say no more frequently than I say yes. And a lot of the times I would love to like meet you before, because like, it's such a, like, no one really has that power. Everyone else works in an office. They have to deal with these assholes on a day-to-day basis. Like, but I don't. I can deal with whoever, you know, who respect my time, like you were saying. Like, so don't come at me in any type of way and then feel annoyed or also some type of way when I reject you, because then we're clearly not the right fit. It's no hard feelings. You know what I mean? I'm just not the artist for you. And I don't want to spend time with people who treat me like shit. You know, who wants that? I'm not doing this for that. You know?
Now on the flip side, there is like there have been clients where like they've wanted me to do something in black and gray, and I've done a lot of black and gray work, but I'm really trying to just concentrate on like color work and scenery and things like that right now. So I've had a handful of clients who I've sent to Dante, who's one of our coworkers, and his black and gray is very dark, a lot of chiaroscuro like mine is. So like I genuinely think my clients will like his work. If they like my black and gray, they're gonna love his black and gray. But I love when I get the feedback that is, thanks for sending me to him because it was awesome. Or like I'll hear through the grapevine that they're talking to their coworkers and they love that they ended up with that artist, and that's who they ended up with the right artist. And you know, universe is going to line you up with the things that you value. So like if you're taking your tattoo collection seriously, be patient. Like, you know, it takes years to collect big tattoos, you know, between travel and just lives of busy artists. It takes even some people, it takes years to get. Yeah, it took 4 years to finish my leg sleeve, and I think 4.5 actually. And that was, you know, seeing each other almost every month. You know, some sessions were a few hours, other sessions were like mega sessions, but you know, it just takes time, you know, and it takes time to like maybe get your spot in line with a busy artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like one of the things that I just can't stress enough anytime I'm talking to anybody about their tattoo work is it's not a race. Like if it's important to you, just be patient. Like the opportunity will present itself. Right. If your artist, like the artist that you had in mind said no once, hit them up again a year later. Like maybe your idea has changed a little bit. Maybe the work they're looking to take on has changed a little bit. But like, if you're connected, if you're driven, if you really like feel like that's the artist for you, just be patient. Like universe works in your favor.
Right.
Like,
and it's part of the process. That's the fun part. Like the fun part's the process, because once the tattoo's done, then it's done. You know what I mean? You get to look at it. People will look at it every now and again, but like, then it's just a part of your body, and then you get used to it. And it's just, you know what I mean? Like, but the process, people think the process starts when you get tattooed. It's just not true. Like you start the whole entire process way before that. And like, the more that people respect that, I think the easier they'll have it, you know, with these email warriors just blowing everybody up.
it's been something this year, hasn't it? Have you been super duper swamped with like,
yeah, I just can't. I have an auto response, and it's like, it's very mean and strict, because like I'm not very mean and strict in person, so I just need to put it out there first, so I don't have to like, you know. So, but like I can't even take on any new clients because I'm still backed up from COVID, and then you know, like I'm just, and everybody at Tattoo wants their other limb tattooed. It's just like, I don't know where everyone's getting this money from, but holy hell, I need like 9 different arms because there's so many people, you know. It's tough because like I have my own personal goals. Like I want to do my own passion projects, but I can't design those passion projects if I'm working 6 days a week, you know, like I have to take time to get bored so I can get inspired, so I can draw.
One of my biggest frustrations is like when we are scheduled 5 and 6 days a week and somebody's like, well, can you just squeeze me in? It's like, You
Yeah.
really, like, as my friend and homie and or family member, want to make me work 13 10-hour days straight? Cool. That lets me know how you care about my back
But it's
and
me.
hands and
But it's
well-being.
me.
Cool. It would have been cooler if you asked me to go kayaking on that day off.
Right?
Probably would have got you in quicker.
Thought you loved tattooing.
Like, I probably would have put you on my next no-show, call
Yeah.
off, whatever. But
I'm the opposite. I'm like, you tell me when we're tattooing, okay? Just let me know. I'll be there. Just whatever works.
Ben's got an automatic foot in the door. His wife is my manager, but she's
Yeah,
like a little
she-
pit bull. She's like a really polite little pit bull for me, and it works great because they know so much of like the local tattoo community that like
Did
I know
just
you guys
call her
sit
a
there.
polite little pit bull.
Yeah,
That was the best. I'm gonna buy her a little pit bull T-shirt.
yeah, yeah. She's a very polite little pit bull.
Polite little pit bull.
Yeah,
Aw.
yeah. I think people know she's serious.
I write emails for a living.
Oh man.
I mean
But-
that in the best way. Like, you know, you can tell when somebody deals with people on a professional level daily because they can take whatever they're thrown at them and be like, I hear you. This is our exact policy. Do it.
As aforementioned,
Per my last email. Things like
copy
that.
paste.
I mean that in the best way because there's like you were saying initially, you were like, you are firm in that first email because you're like,
Yep.
I'm setting the standards of how I will be treated. And it's important to do that when you're dealing with people that you're not necessarily seeing face to face.
Mhm.
Right. And they
Because
they don't know the rules. They don't know the social cues. And it's not their fault, you know, but I want to make my boundaries as clear as possible because they will bulldoze over them in a second, you know?
Smart.
Mhm.
Super
Yep.
smart. I really like the way you approach that. You're like, look, this is how it is. If you want to play by the rules, we can
One of the
continue.
things I
If not,
struggle with,
fuck off.
however, how do you deal with this? One of the things I struggle with is like the client that's been my client for years. And it's like, you already know you're getting the homie hookup. I can't really like
Yeah.
bend
I
the
mean-
rules anymore.
That I've just started to like grow a big enough set of balls that I'll say no to family favors. And I'll just be like, you know what? Like, I understand, but like the homie discount, I don't know yet because I'm just like, that's my biggest weakness when it comes down to like, okay, give me money. I'm just like, honestly, I had so much fun. Like, is it for free? Like, I can't even tell anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So it's so that's still a road that I have to, you know, like I just try not to tattoo those people as often. Like I would get them in like monthly or like every 3 weeks or something. I'd be like, oh no, like I can't. I started to resent them for no reason other than I couldn't have the balls to charge them more. You know what I mean? I could know my schedule constantly. So to balance that out, I give them more like a 6 week. Every 6 weeks they get an appointment because then I don't feel as bad about myself when I'm making a little bit less that day.
Yeah.
It's a living.
That's
Like,
frequent,
And
so.
it's a definite thing to overcome as a tattoo artist because, you know,
Mhm.
as we get better, our family definitely wants them. Our friends
Yeah.
definitely want them. And then the question of like, what should I be charging? And they were probably there from the beginning. So they watched you charge, you know, $50 an hour to $100 an hour to
Right.
125.
I don't
50.
know.
as a collector,
And then
that
it's
gets
like-
weird too.
But
because
if I was a family member, I would want to charge whatever you're wanting to pay. Like, it's like, hey,
that's what I'm
cool,
saying.
whatever
So-
you charge. I don't expect anything less than that. It's like your job.
I
But
like
I
working
also
out
want you
favors
to
for
tell
family
me.
members and stuff, but there's not that many favors that I need. And there's a lot more family members.
Right.
Like if we can work something out
Right,
on a
let's
trade,
do a good
like
trade.
you have something
You
that you know
mechanic,
how
we
to
got-
do and I don't know how to do, and maybe you'll teach me how to do it. I will tattoo you for
Well, I mean,
said skill.
I've
Yeah.
got a tattooed by homies only policy. So like it's weird for me that like sometimes they're like, I'm like, no. Fucking how much money do you want?
I feel like we go through this every single
We do
time.
every time.
Right. Where us
Fine,
tattoo
you're at
artists
my
almost
house
feel
3
worse
days a
about it
week.
than like what the
I'm
family
not
members
trying to-
actually feel.
Yeah, it's when it's like close friends, it is a little bit more awkward. But I mean, even people you see once a week, twice a week, so I'm like, I hang out at the shop, I know the people there. So sometimes it's like, no, listen, I know we're friends, I know, but this is your job. How much money do you want? When you go, no, give me a number. Give me a number. If you don't want to give me a homie hookup, this is your time to tell me how much
Right.
you want to fucking charge.
I usually just tell them, I'm like, this is my rate.
And if it's more than I
This
have
is what
in
it,
my
this is what it
pocket-
is. And then like, I don't know, a lot of times I'll end up doing the hookup, you know, in the end, but it's like, you know, I'll tell them the rate off the bat. And that's been my protection mode. It's just like, hey, this is what I normally charge.
I've really been
Don't
working
really,
hard to wrap up a lot of my like
say anything outside of
outstanding
that until the end of it.
projects.
And then just be like, okay, hey, it's going to be
say how much
less
money
than
you want. Say get your money.
that.
Get your money. Say, hey, this is what I need to do this. If you don't want to do this, fuck off. They'll come up with the money.
I'll work
And
on
if,
that.
and if they are friends or family, if they're like, oh shit, I only brought 500 and you need 7, I'm gonna see you in 3 days. Is that okay? I know that's a shitty situation, but like, you got a visa?
I feel like I'm in this situation now. I've been working hard to wrap up all of my projects that like I've been working on for the last few years. I'm trying to keep like I'm trying not to start any new projects at old prices is where I'm at. I'm
Right.
trying to really wrap things up that way. Like as I'm wrapping things up, I can be like, okay, so things are changing and it's going to be like, yeah, I'll work on you again, but it's going to be this much for the next project.
That was what really benefited me when I moved to
Mhm.
Ohio and Red Tree was that like I spent however like a year because I knew I was going to move at the end of the year. I didn't necessarily know it was Columbus at the time. Like
Mhm.
I thought I was going to be across the country, but I spent that year wrapping up all my projects in Grand Rapids, getting all those done,
Mhm.
wrapping up all the things that were on lower rates, and that I was been having all these issues like family members getting charged less than they should, all like you know those little stupid resentments like she was saying, Emily was saying that you get you know for no reason where it's like I just tend to skip over these emails because you know you're going to get paid like $200 versus you know the whatever you wanted to get paid because that's the rate that they were on, and now time's
Mhm.
gone by and your rates are higher, all these and that questions. Moved out to Red Tree and just right off the bat, just charged what I want, like what I wanted to get charged, new clients. And it, you know, luckily having Red Tree helped me get clients really fast out here. So I built a good clientele at the rate that, you know, I really want. And that's
Right.
just really been huge.
You guys said it. If they're your friends in your family, do they really want you working 13 extra hours? If they're your friends in your family, do they really not want you to be able to afford your lifestyle and your groceries and the things that you need to pay for? This is budgeted time. That's how you make your living.
Mhm.
You're asking me to
I
not
think there's just
accomplish
kind of
my
a
financial
misconception
goals.
that like we're all just sitting around like
Yep.
chairs
Yeah.
open.
Right. And like getting overpaid or
on
something
in.
because when someone says $200 $200 an hour, you know, they think, oh, I only make $20 an hour. And so like that verse, you know, 200 seems so much different, but it's not, it doesn't equate like that when it comes to from the taxes we
Yeah.
pay to the supplies that we
Yeah.
pay to the rent that we pay
The time
to
you spent drawing,
all of those
conceptual,
things. It
the time it took you
we
to
end
learn
up
to
making
come
the
up
same
with
money
those
that you'd make.
concepts.
I mean, not to say we make good money as tattoo artists, but it's also not like, and it's all work.
It's one of those things. It's like,
But I think family
When you-
doesn't always tend to see it the same as like some other people
a
will.
plumber that can do a job in a half hour that you couldn't do, you don't pay them for the 10 minutes that they're there. You pay them for the 10 years it took them to be able to do it in 10 minutes. It's the same thing with the tattoo artist.
Mhm.
This is a honed skill, a craft, an art that you can't do. And if you
Thanks,
can
Ben.
do it, I mean, kudos to you, but you
Thanks.
sought after these artists. You sought after these people. You talked to them. You said, I want your professionalism on my body. Respect the fucking process, man. Sorry.
Thanks, Ben. I can't say
appreciate
that
it.
as a tattooer. I
I
can't say
can.
those words.
As collectors, if you're not seeking out artists that will respect your time at the same time, tell them to fuck off. There's a million artists out there. Like,
Yeah, with as busy as that's where the family thing is a little bit more difficult. But for the most part, with most clients, it's especially when we're really busy, it makes it really easy to just put up those walls and those boundaries of like,
do it.
okay, if you're gonna go against the flow, like you're gonna get
Go
in.
swim
It's
in
gonna
someone
take
else's
you a
river,
lot
man.
longer because there's a million other people to fill that spot. But when it's family, you tend to care a little bit more. But it's still. We still gotta have our boundaries.
So maybe we should start doing the same thing. I don't tattoo, but like you could be like, hey, I know someone that does work at that rate, and they work at this shop. And if you go through this process with them, they might be able to give you the tattoo that you're looking for. But the place where I am in my career, I don't know.
I think it's just passive enough to work.
I don't know. You're still hooking them up.
No, I mean that's honestly what
Yeah.
that's probably something that I would say if someone was having an issue with my price rate. I'd be like, okay, well, this is what I charge. There are people who are going to charge less, and here
Good
are some
luck.
of these people. I'm not going
sorry,
to say
I thought
anything
you
more
were
or anything less
serious.
about their work. This is just, if you want to come to me, you sought after my work. Took me the time it took to learn it. All these things. I probably won't explain it even that deep, but just be like, there are other people.
I
That's
don't
totally
understand
cool.
people that don't understand that concept.
If you want my work,
Well,
love
one
to
of the
tattoo
things
ya.
that we've got to remember is not everybody lives in the tattoo community like tattoo artists do. The layperson doesn't know these things. That's why we have these
Mhm.
talks for 3 hours a week.
Right. I'm incredibly patient with people though, because most people never treat me with any sort of attitude about it, even if they're kind of
yeah.
even
the
if they're,
squeaky wheels
even
we're
if
talking
they're-
about are not the usual
yeah, even if they're
ones.
thrown off by, if a price or something like that, because they had a whole different idea, usually within, we'll sit and talk for a minute, about, what, what we all charge here, what's normal, like what
Right.
this is. Maybe they've never had a tattoo before. So they're like, whoa, that's kind of way
Well-
more than I thought. But also there's this other prerequisite to where if you're even sitting in my chair and we're talking about price, then you've already read my book. You've already read my page. You know how much I charge, so you have a certain expectation.
There's a weird inflection with text too that a lot can clear up in a 5-minute conversation.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
I don't know. I have a hard time with not putting inflations on what people say over text. So like if I read something and I read it sideways, I just call. I'm like, hey, what's this? What?
What do you mean by this?
Let's go ahead. I want to hear your tone right
I
now.
want to hear
please.
your
I want
tone.
to hear your tone. 'Cause I seem to be confused.
I
on what
need
you
more.
meant by the words on my screen.
Yeah, I feel really lucky for my my clients. Super lucky. No one really goes against the grain too much. Every once in a while there's a squeaky wheel, but it's so minor. It's so minor. I never have anything.
I've got
Too
a
much.
doozy right now.
It'll be like someone will come in all fucked up or something.
Ben knows who I'm talking about because Emily and I have talked about him so
that the
many
sunburn?
times.
Sunburn guy?
No. I got sunburn guy finished.
Cool.
It was great. A week later, he was good to be
Good
tattooed
stuff.
on.
Good guy.
Okay, so
Tattoo guy.
this kid, I think he's like 24, and I did his first tattoo when he was 16. I tattoo his whole family, and I mean his whole family. I mean like aunts, uncles, extended cousins, grandparents. I tattoo this kid's entire family, like all of them. I've done a ton of work on this kid, and so it's kind of his MO. Like he's a little bit spoiled and entitled. He's like, what did I say? He was like 24 now. So he's 16 when I first started working on him. So we've got like an 8 or so year history.
Jeez.
I have him go through my webpage to schedule, like I have everybody do, because there's a lot of important information on that webpage that I want everybody to see. Like there's a purpose.
It's like
But
when there's
also-
a sign, to do, like when you're walking somewhere, there's a sign, you read the sign.
Yeah.
The reason signs are signs.
But also,
So like that's like our web pages.
I have what's called a jot form on my webpage, and it's just a questionnaire, but that gives me a literal database. And then it also gives me a physical line, like people are in order, and I can be very fair. Nobody gets forgotten, nobody gets left out. It gives us a hard copy. You know what I mean? Like
Timestamp.
it's the most fair way to operate business. You know what I mean? If everybody funnels through this one source, then we can work down the list in order and keep it fair, and nobody gets forgotten about. If you text me, I'm not going to remember. If you hit me up on Instagram, I'm going to say, go to my webpage. If the conversation continues, I'm not going to remember. Like, but if it goes through my webpage and then hits the right email, then like you're in line, or you've been recommended to an artist who can get you in. Like,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
but anyways, so I send this kid to said webpage, and he barely fills out the form. And when M is trying to like find out his availability to travel down here from Michigan, well, it started off, he wanted me to go to Michigan just to work on him.
Can you
So
go
I
work
need
at
to-
my house?
I need to go to Michigan. I need
got
to
a boat.
arrange. Need to arrange a guest spot for myself for one person. I haven't traveled to work since February before COVID. Like, I'm so swamped here. I haven't had time to plan a road trip. My Vegas trip, we planned like 4 months ago. Like, if it
Right.
wasn't for planning it way back then,
Hmm.
it wouldn't have happened.
Right. We've got these things planned out.
So anyways, he has the audacity to actually like get rude, and he sends multiple emails, and the emails had words like whatever in them with a period behind it. And then like, I'm not just a new client off the street and whatever, bruh. Like, her name's M and you
Bruh.
called her bro?
Jesus.
So now Em and I, both of our blood is boiling, and she's like, Fawn, and she starts reading off these excellent clients who are patiently waiting their turn. And she's reading these most pleasant, like, I really look forward to the chance to meet you and talk about ideas further. I'll wait as long as I have to, whatever it costs. Like, they're just like grateful to even get a response. And he has the audacity to be rude, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And then after she responds, he's rude 3 more times. And then still hasn't told her his availability
I
to get tattooed. Well, he's scheduled now, but like, it makes
Appointment
me
to get
not ever
canceled.
even want to work on him again. Like,
Yeah.
especially after M was like, look at these clients who are amazing and already value your time and haven't even met you.
Right.
And it's like, you know, you're
Why
right.
schedule them?
I just want to get the last project that I've got started on him done. And I think I'm going to be done with him.
Okay, it's an in progress piece.
Yeah, we started some big black and gray lettering across his belly, but like, I don't even really do lettering anymore. And I also don't really do black and gray anymore. So like,
Yeah. What a fun day that's going to be.
spoiled and entitled and bragging about his $80,000 truck.
Did your rates just go up?
You know,
I heard they did.
I heard they did. What was his time slot? I think that time slot's a prime slot. And those
Time slot's a
slots
prime
have
slot.
Extra charge.
he did read
on
the
'em.
information on my webpage.
I mean, you know, sometimes that prints real fine, and that's in an email that gets sent right before you shows up.
I honestly, I bet he won't show up. And I bet he will fire himself as a client. I bet I won't even have to talk with him.
Look at the world just taking care of itself.
It happens like that
Nature
sometimes.
versus nature.
It does happen like that. When people got weird attitudes and they come at you sideways and you just meet them with like little response, it tends to just work itself out.
Mhm.
Blessed by the tattoo gods.
Mhm.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And then he'll go to someone else and his skin will be ruined.
Well,
It'll
and
be a
then-
very bad tattoo.
Then I
and
was thinking about his family, and I was like, oh man, if I burn this bridge with him, and then I was like, wait a second. They all know he's a spoiled brat, and they're all going to be like, we don't know why you were still working on him. Can we give you our money instead?
Duh.
So it's not even going to be a loss. Like, anything he would say, they'd be like, yeah, Austin,
If
we
you
know.
call this shit, call me. I'm just kidding.
I got you, Ben.
Thanks, man.
It will be a weekend. Let's go yakking.
Let's go yakking. We were just talking about needing to get.
I'll know by 2:30.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I'm awake. I've been coffee. Let's go.
Evening yakking is better.
Is this your today's appointment?
No. He's like 8 weeks out.
He's like, I'm ready to boat.
You're
Let's
trying to
go.
yak?
Oh man. Do you have any? So after I leave the show today, I'm going to go get packed up and we're headed over to Indianapolis for the indie tattoo show that's going on this weekend. Do you have any shows lined up that you're going to be going to?
No, not yet. I haven't really put it on my radar. Honestly, I'm still kind of like in my 100-mile thing. Like, it was such a tunnel visions type of deal for me for the past 3 months. So now I'm just kind of switching gears and doing like full-blown tattoo stuff, getting back on the travel circuit. But I'm doing a guest spot out in Denver at Rebel Muse, and then I'm going to be out in San Diego in August. I'm still trying to link up with a studio out there, but I've heard like whispers of tattoo conventions, and I'm on the Villain Arts email list, but I haven't seen one that's tickled my fancy yet. I want to, I don't know. I'm still a little weird on traveling.
Yeah.
Fair.
This is the first one we're doing.
Yeah, I kind of feel
TrueTube.
the same a little bit, but at least about conventions. I'm excited to see what's going on with them, but it's still kind of big
Yeah.
gathering.
After going to the Cincinnati show, I'm very optimistic. It
I'm
it
very
definitely
optimistic,
wasn't
too.
as dead as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be much more sparse. But it definitely made me optimistic. And, you know, gossiping with some of the people that were working it, it sounds like the momentum is growing pretty quickly. So, you know.
It makes me excited.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's just like that. Like I still like wear my mask even though we don't have to over in New York. Like I'm still trying to like ease my transition. I don't know. Again,
How now that things are starting to open up in New York, are the majority of people still wearing masks? Is it totally open? Like what's
so we just hit yesterday. We're at 70% vaccinated. So now the mask mandate I'm pretty sure is lifted, except for personal businesses. They still make their own rules. So I'm not sure. Like our studio is just doing it. We're kind of just like talking, you know, like it's just open discourse with the guys. And we're just trying to figure out what the best way is because they just lifted it. So it's honestly a clusterfuck because everyone has different views and everyone has different opinions on the vaccination and whether or not, you know, all these things. So like
Right.
I'm trying to be as like as respectful as possible. Like
I try to keep a mask on me just in case.
Absolutely. I always have them in my back pocket. I really don't mind it for tattooing. Like I'm so close to the person anyway. Like I don't have to smell their nasty cigarette breath or whatever else it is. Like I really don't mind. But just like for the sake of other people's comfortability and you know, it's such a tight rope walk. You know, you just really never know what you're gonna get. So I don't know.
Red Tree, what we're doing is like in the open communal spaces, masking up, and then once we get into like our private rooms, it's kind of at our discretion and our client's discretion.
Okay.
In the evenings, Marty comes in. Marty still wears a mask everywhere he goes, so whenever Marty comes in, I mask up and I ask my clients to mask up, just like to be respectful to Marty. Like he hasn't asked that, but I just feel like if he's wearing a mask, then obviously it makes him feel better and more comfortable. So it's, you know, the least I can do. So it's kind of like one of those, like you just read the room situations sometimes here. Is it like that there?
Kind of, but we don't have like separate rooms. Like we're in a communal space pretty much all the time. Like I'm actually in my own separate room, but I work with 3 other guys who are all in, you know, like this L-shaped room. So yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky to keep everybody happy because some people really don't want to wear the mask. Some people are dead set on wearing the mask. And it's more about like standing as a united front as like the artists, you know, so our clients don't get confused. So the boundaries are clear. And so we get into as little arguments as possible because, you know, New Yorkers can get a little feisty.
True.
You see?
I mean, the trick is really, I've noticed that don't be mad either way it goes. I mean, we've been doing this for a while now, and it's like sometimes you still walk into a business and they're like, hey, we prefer if you do that. And they look at you like you're committing a cardinal sin or something. And you're like, okay, I'm sorry, I got it. Hold on, wait. What? We good? Can I give you my money now? And I don't care either way. It's your business. You can do whatever you want. But I don't know. I guess a lot of people.
Where it's confusing though too.
Yeah,
it's like green light, red light.
Right. Well, if the boundaries aren't clear, then it's, you know, that's where the mixed emotion comes in. Because you're like, wait, I thought that I told you that, but you're coming in here like this, you know. And then people are like, oh wait, am I like? They get panicky. Like, am I doing something wrong? Am I doing something wrong? Or are you doing something wrong? And that's where the problem happens. So that's like my biggest thing is like I don't care what we do as long as the communication's clear because it's not worth it, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like we just have the gray area at Red Tree. It's just the Marty rule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he's a wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take my mask off when I go into my room.
He's probably immune anyways. He's a wizard. There he is.
Playing with the
See
fish.
the producer back there.
He just discovered them not too long ago.
She tried to eat them.
No.
Yeah.
So this is Jordan's new hobby. He's building a saltwater tank.
I hear they're pricey.
It was pretty pricey to get this together so far, but it should balance itself out. I think the most expensive part's going to be coral.
Yeah.
It's out of my throat.
All right. You want some water?
Yeah, no, the coral's gonna be what's gonna be most expensive.
There are so many great, good little cubby holes and pockets to put those little seed corals into.
What's fun about a little like thing like this is it's not just like having a pet in a tank. Like you're housing a little like reef ecosystem. So you have so many different creatures that you can sit and watch, and so many different things happening in there, as opposed to like just looking at a lizard in the corner. It's exciting, but it's also like
It's scary.
I'm
I
gonna
would
feel-
kill everything and feel horrible.
that's my biggest fear. That's my biggest fear. So I'm trying to be careful, be super patient. But it's been fun. I love it. Honestly, it's very gratifying if you're into that kind of thing.
If you're into that.
I didn't know I really was, but I've always like been super into the ocean and just fish and life in
It's a lot
general.
of patience.
I like having a little slice of it, being able to create one.
His bio is all going to look like coral reef
It's gonna
formations
be like
for the
live
next
rock.
year.
Know where you got his inspiration from.
Little clownfish sticking out of live rock.
You'll
Coming
have
out
like
your elbow.
you'll have like these little clownfish coming out of skulls. Is that a Nemo?
I didn't-
Instead of
I like
signing
what you did there.
tattoos, you just sneak in a Nemo somewhere.
That's an excellent idea.
like just clownfish just start popping into
Where
weird
it's
spaces.
Waldo of your signature.
Right?
is.
Where's the clownfish popping out the back?
What if I started sneaking wildlife into my scenery?
Start-
Because sometimes I'll ask clients, like, do you want any wildlife in this? Or you just want a landscape with like trees and water? Because like when I think of trees and water, I think of like,
chipmunks?
yeah, birds, cicadas, dragonflies, like that's all part of the woods too. I feel like maybe I should just start sneaking that stuff in as Easter eggs in all of my scenery. Like, oh, that's just in the forest. Yeah, that's part of it.
Don't even ask.
Yeah, there's a dragonfly sitting on that rock in the middle of this stream.
I don't think anyone would ever complain about there being wildlife. Can't imagine.
Easter egg.
Hmm.
I like to throw a little UFO in my landscapes.
Just like
They'll never
dot
see it,
in one
but it's
corner.
back there. It's back there.
I don't know.
There's always
Usually when
one.
I tattoo UFOs, they're like doing something insane.
Deliberate.
The last time I tattooed a UFO, it was abducting a taco truck
Nice.
on
Sounds
my buddy
delicious.
Cam that I was working on the other day.
Against the taco truck.
Yeah, he's got the taco truck. He's got his dog in a spacesuit too, and the taco truck is right next to it.
Yeah.
That's like portrait style dog in a
funny.
NASA suit, taco truck, alien abduction.
That's awesome.
You know the Jimi Hendrix repeating photo?
Uh-huh.
My buddy has his dog's face in the Jimi Hendrix repeating photo on his leg. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Nice. I did a UFO. The last UFO one I did was see big so it's like big UFO on this guy's middle of this guy's back, and then underneath it was it's like this cool looking alien on these like little antler things. And he's like got his hand out in the air like that, but there's like a ghost
You
on
really
his
like
arm.
putting antlers on people.
I don't know. I like it.
People get antlers, man.
I mean,
Maybe I like deer.
Did you get
I'm
that
not
from
knocking
Grandma's Boy?
No, I don't know. It's kind of Wendigo-ish. What?
Do you remember the movie Grandma's Boy?
Yeah.
Do you remember the weed they smoked from Dante that gave everybody antlers?
Yeah. I think that's what's happened. That's funny. But yeah, I like that one. That's one of my favorite tattoos I've done. That wasn't like a huge like sleeve or something like that. Just kind of like we finished it in a session, which is very rare.
Yeah.
Bucket list tattoos. Do you have any alien tattoos left? Are they covered?
Nope.
No more alien tattoos? Are you going to
I mean, my back is an
kind of a
alien,
giant alien? Yeah.
but
It's alien inspired.
if my soul was an alien,
My soul is an alien. I need no proof.
I'll give you proof. I'll show you my back.
So Emily, you were talking about you've got some bucket list tattoos. What are some of your bucket list tattoos? What are some of those ideas?
I would really love, I mean, I'm a sucker for like all the guys over at Grand Reaper and like a lot of like, big neo-trad stuff. So I would love eventually like my throat, my whole entire torso to be some sort of big old neo-trad something, either by Prim or Jake Tattoos or somebody who just crushes, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I just want to give them like just the entirety of, you know, I'm pretty tall, so my torso is pretty long. So I just want, you know, just something beautiful. But I don't have kids yet. I don't, you know, I'm just trying to figure out where and where in my body line I get that tattoo.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's like the first and foremost that I would love to, just something beautiful would be great. Besides that, like I ebb and flow a lot with designs, with a lot with styles, and like how I kind of associate myself with tattooing. Like I love that my back is geometric, but I can't see it, so I feel like I have no geometric on me, and it like drives me crazy. So I kind of want to do a blast over on my color sleeve and just do like some gnarly geo stuff. But I do want to keep the dichotomy of half not tattooed and half tattooed for at least another 5 to 10 years, I think, because I love the restriction, and I love the look. You know, I think it's just really cool, and I love that I'm able to not tattoo my other side of my body, even though I love getting tattooed so much. Like it's like a fun game that I play. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get this tattooed. It's like, no, wait. Like we like this, and you know. So it's yeah, I don't know, but I also want to get the side of my head. I shaved my head in March, and I wanted to get something on the side of my head. I'm still trying to figure out what I want. So I don't know. I'm very not indecisive, but I don't like to put caps on like my ideas. So I just want them to continue to grow. I'm not sure.
When you know, you know.
Yep. The noggin's fun. It's not real horrible. You thought the noggin was horrible?
No, I was agreeing.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a sarcastic agreeing with me. I thought you were like, meh, yeah, whatever you say.
I did both sides back to back, like not like sessions back to back, but like planned tattoos. You're like, well, we're gonna do one side, might as well do the other. Let's get it knocked out. Oh!
I thought I was gonna make a mess. I knocked over the Play-Doh container. I didn't mean to. The lid was on.
I'm trying to think of what my next place on my body is going to be to get tattooed in terms of openness, like what my openness is. If I'm going to start my legs, if it's going to go to my neck, or what. We need to schedule something for the inside of my arm too.
Yeah, we need to put that on the books.
Adam's going to be here in August. He's going to finish up the sleeve.
I want to
Excited
get.
for that.
I definitely want to get something by Marty sometime soon. I definitely want to get something from Carrie Barba. Maybe I'll have her do my knee, like maybe some kind of weird sea creature on my knee. I feel like it'd be appropriate.
I like that. You like sea creatures?
I do like sea creatures. And she does beautiful water. Then I want San Marina Nika
Jesse
to
Levitt
do my
is gonna
arm.
get one of my legs.
Do a whole leg.
Oh yeah, I think
His
I'm gonna save
stuff's
this
so
whole.
cool.
But
He
I
did
really
one
want,
side
I
of my
really want
noggin.
him and Marcus Leonard to collaborate on something with Marcus Leonard's black work.
That'd be a pretty dope collab. They've collabed before, haven't they?
I don't know.
I think they have. I could be wrong, but I
That'd be
believe
gnarly
they
because I
have.
thought that'd just be such a gnarly like super collab.
I believe they have. If not, they
Because I
need
could see
to.
some really cool like zipper action stuff, but then you got Marcus Leonard's real smooth exoskeleton-y style of bio.
Kiyoki and Guy have been trying to do a collab and haven't found the right collector. And I have that panel.
Kiyoki and Guy?
Yeah,
Huh.
I have that panel on the inside of my upper thigh, like where the little sliver where Russ and Tofi didn't tattoo. I wonder if a cool Polynesian piece would fit in there. Polynesian bio. I don't
Wonder
know.
how Guy would do it.
The colors are all pink and
Take
blue.
the repetition of like some of like the pattern work and then like go from like 3D bio to like morph it into 2D.
Well, I've
How-
got like acanthus scroll work on the back of my leg and then geometric stuff all over my butt cheeks. How do you turn that into bio? Like the least Polynesian geometric work there could be.
Leave it.
I bet it could be done.
Leave it to Guy and Kiyoki to figure out a way.
Kiyoki works
though.
in color beautifully too.
That's what the artist is for. Even us
Mhm.
as tattoo artists, it's like, you know,
I feel
someone else who
weird.
specializes
I think
in
about
that, they
it, but
think about
I've
things
just got
differently.
so little real estate left. It's like, do I want it? But like, I do love Kiyoki's work. I just love hanging out with him when he tattoos. He's just got one of the best energies.
Nice.
Tells great stories too. That helps.
Nice.
I feel bad because I'm at the point in my collection where all my spots are weird spots. Like, yeah, I want a tattoo, but like armpit.
Show off that beautiful armpit segment.
Why?
You're even wearing a tank top. Look at all that bare skin.
She wants that sweet meat so bad.
Do it.
I feel like
Do
a
it.
portal could fit right in there perfectly.
Do it.
Portal.
Do it. Do
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Do it.
We already have a humongous project open.
What if we made it like
Well,
my
again,
version of a Japanese portal? Like we could take the Japanese-ish influence and whip it in there and have cool stuff interacting with it. I don't know. It depends. It depends on what weed I smoke, what kind of ideas I get when I look at that space.
But
So next week, Blake,
it's such a
put it
juicy
on
spot. I mean, you
Yeah.
definitely just do it. You definitely just need to
It's
do
not
it.
like I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, cool.
It's just one of those.
Just need to
like-
make sure.
You know, he and Derb are racing for a bodysuit. Like
Just
the
need to like
official race
solidify
is
that you
on.
are going to do it.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, I'm at the point in my collection of not thinking I'm going to leave a giant blank space is kind of naive. But I never really had the I'm going to have a bodysuit mentality when I started collecting. But you know,
But here you are.
Here we are.
Bodysuit later.
We're close. We're getting there. We got some work to do, but I don't know. I was like, how the fuck do you tie all this nonsense together? It's not nonsense. I love all my tattoos, but like they're very in style. They're very in style because there was never like a there's never a bodysuit cohesive plan, you know? Like
Mhm.
a lot of my stuff flows, it looks good. I'm not upset. It's just how do you tie that all together?
Honestly, if it
With your
wasn't
neck
for
piece?
going to like
Whatever you
conventions
do
and
on your
stuff
neck.
early,
We'll see.
Create something
probably-
symmetrical on your neck. I bet it'd be pretty dope.
See, and part of me still like, I kind of just want to leave my neck blank.
Hey, I mean,
I
I'm
got
not going to try to talk you into it.
just-
I just-
if it
I just
wasn't
think
for
the
going
neck
to
looks so good.
conventions
Neck's
early
like
on
the-
and
to me, the
collecting,
neck's the primest real estate. It's one of the hardest to tattoos and the hardest to get tattooed. But like,
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
just
looking
think just can make everything. Like in terms of like a bodysuit and
It'll
really
be last.
pull things
for.
together.
It'll be last, I'll tell you that much.
so
Sorry.
early on when I would go to conventions and I'd look at like in small towns you don't really see bodysuits, and if you do, it's on the one psychopath that everybody already knows is weird and or has their own whatever reputation. But like conventions early on, both like as a tattooer and a tattoo collector, because I was very patient early on. I didn't get tattooed heavily until I'd been tattooing a few years. But if it wasn't for going to these shows and like looking at other people's collections and just being like, that would have flowed a lot better if that just went into that. And like, just like making those mental notes when I'd see other people's collection, or like, oh, that would have been so cool if they hadn't had to cover up that. Or
Right.
so like super early on, like I was very like real estate conscious, you know. I do have some trinket tattoos. Like I've kind of reserved my lower leg to collect little trinket tattoos just
Right.
so I can continue collecting after all the rest of my body is filled. Like, so I'll probably always get little guys along the way as I meet new artists. But like, if I would have gone hog wild and gotten like sporaditats everywhere, I couldn't have even approached some of the artists who have worked on me because I wouldn't have had like
The
the clean
space.
limb. Yeah. Cover-ups, I'm not saying like there's shame in cover-ups. I'm not saying if you have cover-ups or you need cover-ups that like it diminishes your collection or
I'm gonna
anything.
count
But
the
it's
cover-ups
really
up.
nice. It's really nice to keep your options open. I personally chose to plan my collection in really large pieces, in full limbs, full body panels. You don't have to plan your collection like that, but you can still plan your collection. You can still like, oh, do I want this to be balanced? Do I want to have, like with Emily's collection, like half tattooed, half not tattooed?
Right.
Like, you know, what are the long-term goals? You don't have to figure it out along the way, but you should keep your options open.
Right. I walked around with one blank leg for probably 4 or 5 years, and people were like, "What's up with the blank leg?" I'm like, "That's my artistic expression." I thought it was great. That's
Nothing.
me, man. That's me. But then I tattooed it because nobody else thought the joke was funny either.
That's the first question that I
Took a
asked.
second.
Is like, what are your tattoo goals? Like, what do you want to look like when you picture yourself tattooed? Like, what do you picture? Do you picture a sleeve? Do you like how rigid is your thought process? Like, are you really just going to keep that half sleeve? Because I know sure as shit you're going to ask me to make it into a sleeve in 6 months. You know what I mean? So I was just
Right.
for that, because it's like you think that you're so sure about something, and then you make these definitive endpoints, I would say, and then you let the artist make these definitive endpoints, and that's what I think is the issue. Because like my leg is about 16 different people, but it all kinds of flows, and they made it a way where, so I was like, do whatever you want, make it look cool, you know, like do your thing. And I think a lot of people who don't think about collecting like that will cap off their tattoos in a certain type of way, or just make it so they can't have any type of collaboration or any type of interweaving movement. You know what I mean? And it's such a lost opportunity for.
I've definitely become more mindful of those things as I've collected, and as I've like, you know, I want my collection to be cohesive, and I want there to be like almost seamless transitions from one artist to the next. You know, I want it to be, even though they didn't plan to work side by side, I want it to look as if they did, you know.
Right.
And as I work, I always try to, you know, even if I'm just doing like a piece on the upper arm, let's say, I'm going to finish off every edge so that whether I'm the one to add more to it or another artist is, there's going to be deliberate tie-in points. Like there's going to be places that whether it's me or another artist, they're going to be like, okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than having like hard line. But early on, I made those mistakes because sometimes that's what clients wanted. Clients would ask for the hard line at the bottom of their half sleeve, where now it's like, oh no, we're not doing it like that.
Right.
You know?
I feel that.
I pretty much just go, what did you want to do? That sounds great. Uh-huh. And what's next? That sounds great too. Okay.
Whatever you
What
say.
colors?
Because
All
I think you're going to know better than I do.
Yeah, I can't draw
in this
stick
situation.
figures. You tell me what you want to do. Shit. I don't know.
No, but I need a hard black line to separate this landscape from Mother My wrist.
Yeah.
Solid black, huh? All right.
How do you
And then 3 months later, they're like, I want to do my hand. Hard line, huh?
I bet you did.
You wanted that hard line.
How do you deflect less enthusiastic ideas politely?
I like my tattoos to start and stop gracefully. And when I say that to clients, I hope it makes sense. You know, I don't like my tattoos to look like a sticker.
Right.
So they have to have like graceful start and stops.
Yeah, I always try to tell them like it should be like I'm almost like removing the outer layer of your skin to like, you know, this is what was underneath. Like I was trying to, like it was supposed to be there.
It flows
like,
right into your skin.
Yeah, it should be like it's part of your body. Like take off a sleeve, like that's like a piece of clothing. You know what I mean? It should all be cohesive, and then you slap it back on, and there's the sleeve. You know, but it's easy to convince them once if you have like if you have examples. You know what I mean? Like it's hard for people to be like, wait, what do you mean though? Like, what do you mean about flow? What do you mean about composition? When if you're just covered in like small trad tats, like it's really hard to explain. It's like, well, imagine this tattoo but bigger, and then, you know, but like if you have a leg, then you'd be like, well, like this piece is huge and it flows right into my knee, and you can see this negative space, and you can see how it's pulling your eye down to my calf. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, that is why I like that tattoo. Yes, I do understand why I need to go bigger. I do understand why this negative space needs to be there. And like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great point.
If I just like, oh, I need this flow. And like, they're like, well, I don't like those whooshy things. And it's like, no, those whooshy things are like the whole fucking point of the
Right.
But if you say that to them, they're not going to understand what in the world you mean. But if you if you show them your leg and you're like, well, you see how this negative space is creating this nice contrast, and you need this, you need that. And they're like, you know what I mean? It's like explain to someone why this picture works or this person works. You know what I mean? They just need an example first, and just to say like, I'm not going to experiment on you. No, this is a tried and true process, and here we go. And like they almost always will turn over it's almost like just like leading by example. You know, you want to be a good person, be nice to people, and then people will give you the same shit. You know, you want to do good tattoos, like have a couple good tattoos. You can show people this is exactly what having good tattoos feels like, looks like, and functions on a normal basis. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's a lot harder to convince people of that when you're not covered in stuff that does have composition and all of these things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I feel like the bigger my collection grows, the bigger my clients' collections are willing to grow.
Right.
They're like, oh, well, you do have your whole leg tattooed, and that really does kind of, I like the way that looks. It's just, I don't know. It's cool to be able to influence other collectors just by simply wearing my tattoos.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it gets rid of that scary shock value. Like when people see my armpit tattoo, they're like, oh my God. I'm like, no, it's okay. It's not that bad.
Right.
You know,
It's like, I did it. It hurts me. You can
it's
do
like,
it too. We can make through it.
it's vibes. Like I'm thriving right now. I'm not dead. And also like, look at how much prettier my armpit looks than this one. Like that's the worst. So now I want my other armpit tattooed. And it's just like, it brings humor and, it gets rid of that. It like just desensitizes you from like being heavily tattooed to being a scary person to being like a heavily tattooed, like beautiful person that walks down the street. And, like, I don't know, it's breaking boundaries that are still in the past, that stigma.
Oh, I deal with that all day, every day. Trust me. I'm super heavily tattooed, and I deal with insurance restoration. And a lot of times, I'm above my pay grade in a lot of these people's houses, and they're just kind of like, "I'm trusting you with how much money to do what?" I'm like, "I promise, I'm a professional. I can do this." So I find that it's like, as someone covered, it's my place to be over polite and well spoken and well mannered and hold the door open and say please and thank you. And
Yeah,
I mean,
it's up to us to change the image.
Change the image. And if we don't start living up to what we are mad about how we're treated because of the way we look, we'll change the way you act. And that's I don't know. I feel it's my job to be over polite.
I totally agree. And like the more educated I become, the more like the bigger that you like. I don't know, you have to hold yourself a certain way, because otherwise if you fall into that stigma, they'll just don't even give you a chance. You know what I mean? They'll just look at you and be like, oh, well, that's another one of those. Yep. But if you don't allow them to fit you into that box, then they start to get confused. They start to like look at you a little weird. And like, wait, but you're tattooed, but you're so nice. And you write these emails with such, with such grace, and like your vocabulary is amazing. And it's like, oh, whoa, crazy. Like, yeah.
My favorite is when they've never seen you. You show up to that first consultation and they're like, oh, this is who they sent. And you're like, yeah. And I'm the same guy you've been talking to for the past 5 days. We continue in the same exact vernacular. I've been speaking to you on the phone. And they're like, oh, I know you. Like, right. Let's just.
Ben slipped right into his Mr. Movie phone voice. Did you catch that?
Don't tell people that. That's the sauce right there.
The sauce.
I worked telemarketing for a while. I did outbound sales.
You really did telemarketing?
Dude, it was torture. I sold.
Talk to me about what this was like.
Bro,
how have we never talked about this? This has got to be the worst job ever.
For like 6 weeks. I worked at a company that sold pre-addressed mailing labels for new homeowners in a new area. So essentially, we call businesses during the day to get the owner of the business on the phone, because they're the only ones that can authorize a subscription. And we talked people into 3-month subscriptions to buy pre-addressed mailing labels of people's addresses. So we put them through this whole marketing spiel. Like, we know you've got like flyers, right? We'll take these flyers and put these stickers on them and mail them to people that are moving into your area. The only time you need to know where Jim's new oil change is when you move into a new area. So now you're letting these people, hey, no, welcome to the area. Come check out our business. And it was all day, every day on the phone, talking to people that did not give a shit.
You probably had the craziest script.
It was, to get that job, it was a week of training of learning like a 13-page script and a way to deflect every question that ever came up. And like, they would hire in batches. They hired 25 and 30 people at a time, and like 5 people made it to the floor, because you actually had to be able to work your way. And it was the most rigorous training process I have ever had.
This sounds awful.
It was torture. And then when you made a sale, they tried to, because no one buys subscriptions of mailing labels, and you have to get them to agree to a contract by the end of the call, right? So when you actually got somebody to buy the product, they treated it like Wolf of Wall Street. They'd run around and like make you wave a flag and like bring you a Red Bull and be like, whoa, we got a sale. I'm saying, woo. And it was
Wow.
like,
You're just like, oh my God.
it was
Wow.
like at lunch, I would eat
Like,
my
these are
lunch
the things that
and
I'm
walk.
fucking
I
congratulating
literally
myself about.
paced the parking lot and ate my lunch by myself. And I smoke a joint, and then I keep eating my lunch. They were like, "Why do you go outside every day?" I'm like, "Well, I'm just trying to keep thin, and
Vitamin
I'm
D.
I'm eating my salmon and potatoes. I want to smoke some weed. I don't want you guys to smell it." It was torture. But yeah,
Sounds awful.
once you learn to have that professional voice, and I mean, we grew up polite, but once you learn how to have that conversation, you always have something to say. It's the same with manners.
So have you had multiple jobs at the same time and answered the phone the wrong way?
Every time. Restaurants were the worst.
I worked at a cycling shop.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bicycle shop. So usually it was like, thanks for calling Rocky Cyclery and Fitness. This is Fawn. What can I do for you? How
Jim
can I
Jam's
help
Pizza.
you? However I wanted to finish it from there. And I'm like, thanks for calling Victoria's Secret. This is Fawn. Da, 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 da. And my boss, Carol, just lost it. She happened to be in the same room. She was like, try again.
I was looking
And
for
I was
the
like,
sub-
wait, what I do? What I say? Oh man, whoever was on the phone, they definitely got a chuckle out of it. Definitely not the right what you're expecting.
Well, I used to work at 2 restaurants at the same time habitually
Mhm.
because I mean, working full time, full blast to make enough money at one spot in a restaurant industry is pretty tough. So like, I had an opener and a closer, like, and I would answer the phone. I was a host at one restaurant, and then I was a to-go person at another, and it was torture. There was like an hour of bleed over every day. They're like, no. Do you know where you are?
No.
Do you know where you are? Do you need to
No.
eat a chimichanga so you can remember you're at Tumbleweed? Okay. Answer the phone, right? Happened a lot.
And it probably happened more, but it only happened the one time that Carol actually caught it.
The
and
boss
just
was
like
in the room.
Oh,
Yeah.
she had fun with it. She was like, I knew it was going to be trouble when I hired you.
What's funny is now they just know that you're messing it up when your true customers call, and they're like, "Oh, got you again, fine." It's like it's like the test. How often do you order from us?
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard us answer the phone wrong? No, You're not even a true client.
You're not a real customer.
What's the secret code when we answer the phone wrong? Then you don't know.
No, we had our regulars. It's one of those funny things. It's there's you'll never experience weirder demographics anywhere than working at a bicycle shop. Because so we had high-end racing bikes. We had like $11,000 time trial bikes.
Right.
We had, $500-$600 like 20-inch bikes all over the place, BMX, freestyle. We had mountain bikes out the wazoo, super expensive. Right. So like we had all the team riders that we had to outfit, and the team riders like had money, and the ones that didn't, like they'd have 2 bikes on top of their car that were worth 4 times more than the car, which I always thought was adorable. But then we also had like the people in town who could only afford a patch kit for their tube. And we had the people in town who couldn't afford to get their driver's license back because of whatever hard times caused them to lose it. So it was like the most extreme like class demographics. And then, I mean, of course you had the families coming in that just needed bicycles, and we could outfit them too, but it was just like the 2 most opposite extremes. And it was, for me, it was a really good way to like get in touch with the kind of community that I had just moved to. I got to know the police really well from working at the bike shop. It was kind of nice to get to know them on good terms.
On good terms.
And then I started bartending later on, and they're like, aren't you the same one.
Remember me for good things.
Yeah.
Remember me.
Yeah,
for
we
good
had a great
things.
relationship. But it's just crazy. Bicycle shops, man. You'll learn so much about so many different kinds of people.
Mm-hmm. The street shop was like that too. And just running the front desk there, because you never knew what someone else considered expensive. And when you're throwing a rate out at somebody, and some people go, "Oh my goodness, what was that?" And some people are like, "Okay, do we need to bring more money than that, or is that everything? You sure that's everything?" So it's a hard. As a salesperson, it's real. We've all been judged. Matter of fact, the worst time I ever got snubbed was at a bike shop because I went in with a pocket full of cash and wanted a nice bike because I wanted to start riding trails and stuff like that. And this guy was like, I don't know if you're in the right section. Kind of deterred me to the $100 section, and it was kind of like one of those. All right, well, I'll just go to Walmart and trash 10 of those. I don't even care. Like it was, I was pretty.
Some of the guys that work at bike shops are super elitist too.
It's just one of those. You know why there's a default to polite and manners is so you can treat everybody equally. Not to harp on the same thing, but it's all the same thing. Like if you go in and treat someone with respect, you get respect. You get the same results, and you don't have to cross that line. You don't have to be obnoxious, rude, or whatever. You can just be polite. And it all works itself out. Like, I don't know. I don't understand that. All these hard edges makes it just so much harder to communicate with people. And it's like, just chill out for a minute. Same thing with booking tattoos. Same thing with dealing with any service industry. Same thing dealing with any of that. It's.
So what do you do when people try to schedule tattoos with you?
With me?
Yeah.
I laugh really hard and then I book them.
How often does it happen? How often does it happen that somebody walks up to you and tries to schedule an appointment?
I was playing in a pool tournament, right? It's going on midnight. It was the city qualifying tournament. We've been there all night. Like, I'm tired. I don't even want to be playing. This guy, we just stretched it out. It was the last match. Winner wins the whole tournament. Like, it was like that high pressure situation. I was not thinking about tattoos. I'm focused on a game. We literally get done and I go to shake his hand. He just won the match. I'm a little bit like frazzled. We literally just played like 7 matches of pool. He won the last one to win the entire tournament. And what he does is he opens up his phone. Do you think you could tattoo that on me? Bro, I don't tattoo. Good game.
So,
Good
game. I'm gonna walk away and cry now.
One of the things that I've done before, and she was so mad at me when I did it. And so my friend Allie and I, we were out at a bar in Marion, and she has an Adam France leg sleeve like I do, and then she's got a big black and gray with teal leg sleeve that I'm working on her. Both of her arms are totally sleeved up, so she's actually like more covered than I am. But we're standing there and somebody comes up and they're like, "Are either one of you Fawn Baker?" And I was like, "She is," and I walked away. I walked away, Ben. I came back several minutes later and I was like, "I'm sorry, Allie. How long did it take you to break away from them?" She was like, "Fawn, they wouldn't even let me speak. They were just like one photo after another. Like,
my favorite is the little old ladies in the grocery store because they just feel it's appropriate that they can touch you and like turn you and move you and then like pull your arm out. Like, "Oh, son, that must have taken forever." You're like, yes, ma'am. Please stop touching me. It's awkward.
you don't like the cougar touches?
I mean, cougar touches are different. Little ladies.
Oh.
Cougar touches are a definite hell no, because they're weird.
Cougars.
Yeah.
Ben kind of freaks out.
I don't like unwanted advances. Stay out of my butt.
He gets like real stiff and like his hands just go like this.
Turn a little
like,
baby autopause.
I
I don't know what to do with my hands.
And it's not even like he's just like the most awkward.
I don't know what to do.
Like you can, as an onlooker, it's great to see him short circuit.
Unwanted attention.
It's great to see him short circuit. Oh,
leave my bubble alone, Fawn. Yeah, I'm weird. I'm weird about unwanted contact.
I'm the same. Yeah,
I'm fine if I know you. Like, I'm a hugger. Like, what's up? Slap my hand. Let's embrace. Like, I'm all about that. I like contact with people I know. If I don't know you, don't touch me.
Yeah, I just freeze up. I'm like, oh, okay, perfect.
Did you just rub yourself? Like,
Yeah.
Did that hurt? And you're just like, what?
People will like lift up the, like touch the shirt and like, lift up my back. And I'm like,
I had a lady grab the edge of my shorts and start lifting up my thigh to look at my leg, and I'm like, ma'am, we're at Kroger. Like, stop.
I like the slow circle. It's like they get really close to you and just like circle around you, but they don't say anything.
No
They're just,
words. No words. They just expect you to be used to it.
You're like, are like hurting me like places. I'm like, what the fuck?
I looked at this guy one time. I was like, "You owe me $1, man." He was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "If you're gonna look at me like a show, at least pay to watch the show, you know?" Like
All the time. All the time.
Give me my $1.
I don't know. It depends on how. Sometimes I'm quick to show my stuff off, but it totally depends on the approach.
Yeah, you got to approach it right.
Yeah, like depending on how you like. If you're cool about it, if you're a fellow artist, like I'll show you all my tattoos. Like it's not weird, but like if you approach me any other way but appropriately,
Like without saying first, I like a hello. How are you doing? I like your tattoos, not just like whooping or like people screaming at me or like you know, you go right in for the touch or like you just staring at me like 10 feet away and then I make eye contact and I give you like a little wave and then you're just like, oh, it's like just wave back. It's fine. Like I know what you're looking at. Just like be a person. You know what I mean? You're allowed to stare. Just be a little bit like less deer in headlights and more human about it, you know?
We know we're tattooed.
Right.
It's not like we don't know what you're looking at.
Get it.
But have some couth.
Yeah, just like give me a head nod, give me a wave. You know,
I really like your art, your tattoo, however you want to phrase it. My favorite people are like, nice piece, man. And it's like you can tell they're like going out of their way to try to sound like industry or whatever, however you want to look at it. And you're like, hey, bud, I don't like it. Shut up. Okay.
when they call them Muriels.
Muriels. Look at that Muriel.
You got a whole Muriel on you.
Muriel.
Look at that Muriel. That just keeps going.
I ain't never heard that one yet.
You've never heard Muriel? Oh man,
We got to take you to
Got a whole
Miriam. We'll take you right down to Miriam, and everybody will call it Muriel.
It's not even necessarily a Marion thing. I feel like I hear that a lot from like, I don't know. I feel like there was a time like in the 90s where they called big tattoos murals.
Right.
And people have started calling those Muriels. And then they think all big tattoos are Muriels instead of like, oh, that's a nice tattoo or that's a nice sleeve or.
My favorite is, how much did you pay for that? And it's one of those like such a convoluted question because it's like,
I tell them when I stopped keeping track.
How much did I pay for it or how much would you pay for it?
right. It's like, what? Why are you asking me?
Not only that, do you want my artist's hourly rate? Are you planning on tattooing your whole back and you're looking for a comparison? Random person on the street? Like, it's one of those like, that's an unfair question. Someone as covered as me, obviously, might have known some people. What I paid for this isn't necessarily what you're going to pay for that. Do you want to look up my artist's rates? Do you want their names? No. You want me to just tell you $1,200 an arm?
I mean, but in reality, did you even keep track?
Not one time ever.
I never deliberately kept track, but I sat down and like I added up and I like calculated and roughly estimated a few things. And the very last time I did that math, once it tipped 50,000. I was like, I will never do that again. And then I was like, you know what? Would I rather have like a Beamer or my tatties?
I got a car, but yeah.
Would I rather have a G-Wagon or my tatties?
Your tattoos are going to last a lot longer than all those.
You're right.
See, but
better investment. Money well spent.
I can't make 30-year payments on fucking a G-Wagon. And by the time I could have saved that money to have purchased it, it'd have been broke down.
I kind of want a G-Wagon one day. It definitely won't be a new one, though.
I'm on that game, like 100% with you.
I'd rather have a Mercedes van. That's way higher up on my list. It's a new Mercedes van. Turbo diesel. 4x4.
I'm hard on it.
Ladder.
Hard on it.
Luggage rack.
Overlander style.
Absolutely.
Big nubby tires.
Absolutely.
Has these all day. I'm with you. I even got a parking spot next to the house. Woo, it's right there. Just saying.
That would be a good place for a van.
That's where my bus was.
If I get another two. I didn't know you when you had the bus. I forget you had a bus.
1984. It was awesome. Bubble windows. Sweet. I miss my bus. Rob, sell me back my bus. Just put it out there. Keep saying it to the universe one day. Well, it's red, white, gorgeous.
Too bad.
It was one of those things, like I had a lot of high hopes, and then when I bought it, it was kind of random. Wasn't really expecting the project, so didn't really have a budget for the project. So it kind of sat there. And I sat for about a year and a half, and just had gotten the funds together because I wanted to completely renovate it. So I didn't want to pick and choose at it. I wanted to get it done and do it. So by the time I had the money to do it right, my buddy was like, "Hey, dude, like I really need my bus back." Fine.
Wow, wow.
You can have it back. Pay me $700 for storage fees.
I'm kind of toying with the idea of getting my stepdad a really nice spray gun and taking some avocado and off-white automotive paint and a whole bunch of masking material and being like, see my camper out there?
Once he's good, he can paint my bumper.
Well, they've had little fender benders and stuff in the race cars. They race pro stock. They've got like a 64 Valiant that's all tubed out, air shifter, all the like 6 inches of track stuck to the back quarter panel because it's bad luck to peel it off, apparently. I don't know.
Yep.
So anyways, they've already got like roll up spray booth in the garage. So I think my camper will fit in there. So I think if I just take the materials out there, he's been looking for things to do with his time. And he's been like, Fawn never lets me do anything nice for her. So I think I might just be like, here's an idea.
If he turns it
also,
down,
here's a respirator.
if he turns it down, I'll rattle can the fuck out of it for you. It'll be gorgeous.
I mean, avocado can't be a hard color.
Nah, I got you. I got a wander.
It's either a 72 or 76. For some reason, I can never remember for sure.
Because they're vehicles.
I mean, it's the same. It's that much older than me. Like, all right, so we're going to need new brakes. Okay. We're going to need new brake lines. Okay. We're going to need brand new everything.
I hate
it actually runs great. I drove it back from Toledo.
Nice.
I was pretty lucky to find it.
It's just one of those things. It's like, is this $100 problem? Is this $1,000 problem? Is this a $5,000 problem?
Fortunately, it's a Dodge family. So they've got so many old Dodge parts sitting around from like 1970 to like 2002 vehicles.
Right.
Like, I feel like it's probably in the best hands it could be.
All right. Well, I'm going to swerve conversation to let's look at some of Emily's tattoo work.
Excellent.
I just got into TikTok. Apparently, this is what everybody's doing.
I've been putting time lapses
same.
up there. It's been pretty successful, just sharing like time lapses of my work.
I really like the video editing software. It's like super rad. So still trying to figure it out.
It just ticked our talk.
This is some didn't associate with his slacking gray underneath the sleeve, so we got a blackout, and I'm doing white over, and now we're just layering over triple black and other versions of black. And it's actually coming out pretty cool.
That's
wow.
Rad.
I'm just starting some experimental projects along those same lines.
Yeah. This is my first time doing it. He's a really, really great client. I told him, I was like, listen, man, like I have no idea how like the longevity of this white. I don't know what's gonna happen. And the inside is staying, as you can see, the inside's super fresh. Not fresh as in I just tattooed it, fresh as in still white, but the outside I have to keep blasting because that's sun exposure. But you can even see how bright the top half is. And then that mid section gets so much sun and it keeps washing out. So I think we're gonna have to keep playing with it. But like if he was an inside worker, he works outside. If he was inside, I think this would be a little bit more. Yeah. But honestly, I'm super happy with how it's coming out, and he's down for layering. So
That's amazing.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm loving that white over black. I love seeing examples of it. So I always want to jump into it, but I'm just
totally. And what
I haven't had the balls to do it.
Sure. What I did is I took Pantera triple black and I outlined underneath the white to give it a little more depth.
Okay, right on the edge.
Yeah. But I only did it on the bottom half, so it looks, so next time I'm going to continue to push that contrast. But super cool
Very
project.
cool.
Yeah.
It does look like beveled and sculpted.
Noted.
It's nice.
Yeah. I literally went through and did every single bit.
Yeah, it does look like if you touched it, you'd feel the bevel.
So yeah,
like in a good way.
yeah, and he's a cool guy. His other arm is blacked out by a hood out in Philly, and it's
Nice.
pristine. That shit is beautiful.
Hell yeah. No.
Oh,
Cute pup. I like, if I don't do geometric stuff, I like to do portraits.
Yeah.
Big
It's a nice-
animal.
it's a nice
yeah.
contrast.
Yeah.
Oh, puppers.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
cool. Little
Very
in
cool.
progress. He was specifically didn't want any mandalas, so it was kind of a challenge because I usually use the mandalas as like radial points on like the anchors.
Mhm.
So I tried to figure out a different way, and I'm really loving how this is coming out. We're almost done with this. Really
Yeah, I
cool.
like that a lot.
Did you see
pattern work
that
is filled
new
out.
Tattoo Smart brush set that Russ was sharing with
The
us last
Wooten
week?
one?
Yeah,
Woots, yeah. Yeah.
No.
he's got some amazing geometric
Really cool.
patterns and brushes
cool.
right now that are. I don't think they're available yet. I think he was playing with. His
It's like, I
personal
mean, these
ones
ones in
but-
particular are the coolest ones. Of course, they got lots of references for stuff like this,
That's
but like
nuts.
Yeah.
there is that cybernetic one's pretty cool. I'm just
Yeah.
always a little bit back and forth on it. I love it for like the generic, not generic, but more like hexagons and like flowers of life and things like that, like the more basic patterns. That I like creating a lot of my own.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Very dope. Love that armpit area.
Yeah. Super cool.
Swirlies.
Very smooth. I like that.
Thanks. Yeah, this is like so I do like realism, and I do like black worky, like feminine minimalist stuff, and then like geometric. Ideally, I would love to blend all of them together at some point. Like I'm only 6 years in, so I'm trying to figure out where I'm just trying to lean, but I don't want to like pigeonhole myself too bad. So
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. Nice portrait stuff.
yeah, it's cool. This he's gonna do a whole character arm. It's be nice. This is the other one is like one of the first of my what I'm trying to consider passion projects. So she's giving me her whole arm, and she's super open. And this is like one of these like pure collaborations where I had like a nice conversation with her via Skype. She's from Massachusetts, and then I had her come and said back-to-back days. But I sent her about 6 different sketches, and then we narrowed it down, and we kept refining from there on out. And I'm just really thrilled with the whole entire process. She's super thrilled with the whole entire process. But it's going to be these organic clouds with mandalas kind of pushed in the background. Super
Very cool.
Yeah.
I like that. The mandala is super clean.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's got a lot of depth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Love the
Yeah,
edging,
that's cool.
edging on those lines.
Yeah, the clouds are going to be all different levels of like light gradient.
Mhm.
And we have a chrysanthemum that's underneath here, and she's also gonna have a chrysanthemum coming up from her hand. So we're gonna have like some loose petals and some leaves in between these like, hard mandalas and stuff. It's gonna be pretty rad.
Dope. That's awesome.
Yeah. This is how I got through quarantine and stuff like that. So I do like digital pups, and I put like hats on them and stuff, and I like fun with it.
Yeah, this little sheriff thing.
Busy hands.
Yeah. It's just some healed stuff.
Very cool. Yep, that's awesome.
Nice.
More, yeah. I really love doing geometric. Super cool.
All right.
Mhm.
All right, Ben
Mhm.
says.
Yeah, this is fun. It's fun. It's in like such an interesting area, just a little bit past into like the hinge of his forearm. So we do get a little bit of movement on that skull, but the line stays straight, which I really appreciate. Like that's the fun part of stenciling, and like I think things that are a little bit maybe overlooked by some newer tattooers, like stenciling and where it is and how it moves on the body, like 100% matters. It shouldn't only just look good at one particular angle in one particular way. Like it should be able to interact with in your body or whatever. So
Mhm.
it's cool.
I mean this in the
Absolutely.
best way. The skull looks like he's doing the Ric Flair yell.
No,
I
it's
love it.
cheese.
Oh yeah. I just saw scrolling through the pages of Instagram, saw someone that had done a top of the arm tattoo that was a mouth, and when it opened, the entire mouth opened with the arm. So when he lifted his arm, the mouth stayed with him, and it was just really well done and put in the right spots where
It looked functional.
it looks cool. It looks cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that same arm. This is
Nice.
layers and layers and layers. Half the battle with this guy is the stencil. Obviously, the stencil work is tricky, but pays off in the end.
Yeah.
I know the feeling.
Yeah,
Right there with you on that.
this is that left arm is from Hood. I did both of his hands.
Sick.
Yeah.
There's a good combination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the juxtaposition of the, I only use triple black on the mandala and then tried to only use it in like the tips of the leaves to try to bring it together, but have like a nice kind of organic and hard shapes, I think it's cool.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that a lot. Dog portraits. Love it.
Yeah.
The hat's really nicely done too.
Thank you.
So what are some more like passion project ideas that you have that you'd like to do?
I like the organic and geometric stuff. This is a collab with Brandon, and we would love to do more of this stuff with the organic shapes and have the mandala. I think we're doing another chess piece soon, which would be really cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like as far as like the passion, it's more not even necessarily more about the design, but I want more of that pure collaboration. I want to meet new people who really respect tattoo collecting, and then I want to do really phenomenal pieces on them that they're proud to wear, whether or not that's flowers or shapes or whatever it is. I don't really necessarily have any subject matter that I'm particularly honed in on. I just would love. I'm aiming for that collaboration. So whatever that is, to be honest.
Very cool.
Oh man, I don't know how he tattooed that so beautifully. I just wanted to squint the whole time the back of my neck was being tattooed.
Yeah, this guy's a trooper.
Man.
Oh, this is cool. Fire is really hard to tattoo. It's almost like you got to tattoo it backwards.
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Very nice. Look at all that nature back there.
Yeah.
You see those? You see
little
those?
mountains.
Those little Rockies.
Appropriate for a bear.
How long have you been working on this guy?
This is
This
in
is
July. I think it'll be a year. So
Nice.
he's very consistent.
Okay, it's coming together pretty quick then.
Yeah, I get him in every 5 to 6 weeks, so we get a good 5 to 6 hours on it, and he sits really well, so works out.
Oh look, more finished on the drawing.
Yep, that's finished.
This is cool.
Thanks. This was for an art show in town. It was like an equality trans rights art show. So
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, this is cool.
yeah, graphite is my preferred medium for sure.
I love the wind in this. Brings
It's
that
crazy.
That's that like negative flow you were
Mhm.
talking about.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it just brings your eyes a little bit all over the piece. And, he wanted an arrow. But I just hate straight arrows. Like I just nothing on the body is straight. So anything putting something great like that, it just kills me. So it's like, you know what? Let's just snap it in half and call it a day.
Nice.
That's a super good solution to it. I've got a few pieces that I've done recently where like somebody's shooting an arrow or they have like a staff, and I just like highly foreshorten them. So it's like it cuts. So however it falls, it's going to fall gracefully with the body. So then I just have to worry about making it contour rather than making it like perfectly straight. You know what I mean? But that foreshortening trick saves me all the time. I can like contour the like tricep instead of trying to worry about a perfectly straight, you know, perpendicular to every body part.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
But that's a super good solution.
Perfect circles over awkward spots.
Yeah, just the wee beginning of that sleeve is that.
Yeah, we're pretty far back.
Super.
How do we end the screen share?
Right up here.
Oopsies. There we go. Here, take that back.
When you forget the screen's a touch screen.
Do you have any current projects that you're working on that you haven't shared any pictures of yet?
Not that I'm telling you about.
Well, sometimes I've got projects that I'm excited about, but it's really hard to like put the picture up without explaining what everything's going to develop into.
Yeah, I have a couple, not a crazy amount. But yeah, I have one or two that I'm waiting on. Totally. Yeah.
And then it's like, look at this. Bam.
Yeah.
Magic. That's that Hollywood magic.
Hollywood.
They showed up and it happened overnight.
Did that whole leg, one session.
Boom. Prove I didn't.
Prove I did. Look how well they sat.
All
No
right.
swelling or nothing.
Well, we're approaching 2.5 hours. So
Yep.
is there anything that you would like to talk about? Well, we've got a little bit more time to talk.
Sorry, I'm just plugging in my iPad.
It's okay. It's all right.
Trying to get a little low.
Mercury's in retrograde.
No worries.
There's nothing it doesn't affect.
We actually lost total power last
It's
week
the great escape.
and had to switch to just the iPad.
But we always have the iPad in the corner. You know what? I
It
should
looks
start
perfect.
putting the laptop up there. With the webcam. Moving on up.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think we covered a lot.
Nice. Yeah.
We get pretty good at talking. once we
Showed
get
off a lot of
going.
your work, showed off the work that you got. Talked
Yeah.
about getting tattooed, mental fortitude of getting tattooed. And
Today was actually a pretty productive
went kinda all
show. We
over the
didn't
place.
dive down too many crazy rabbit
we didn't
holes.
talk about
for too
aliens
long.
or ghosts, but
We talked about alien tattoos.
that's fair. We did talk about alien
We
tattoos.
did talk about alien
So we got
tattoos.
aliens a little bit.
We always touch the subject at least once.
At least once. Do you want to throw your Instagram handles and webpage and stuff out there?
Sure, yeah. You can find me on Emily Paul Arts on Instagram and follow Black Sail Studio with Brandon Schulteis, Marvin Silva, and Needle Beetle, Joe Freeman. Those are my buddies I work with, and they're
Nice.
tattooers, super humble, super nice, super talented. And yeah, my webpage is a little out of date, but it's emilypaularts.com. And that you can actually find pre-tattoo anxiety helpful hints. You can find long session helpful hints. I'm all about, like I said, communication is key for me. So if you have any concerns, questions, anything, I'm always open to talk about it, because I want tattooing to continue the way that you guys are doing it, the way that I'm doing it, the way that my boys at the shop are doing it. Like, I want that to continue to move forward. So however we can get that to happen, like, I'm down. Let's do it. So
Nice.
I hear
if
that.
it's through communication, if it's through podcasts, if it's through, angry people on the internet, like, I'm for it, I got so yeah. But it was a pleasure to be on the show, to be honest. It was very
Yeah,
nice.
thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Yeah,
This
we were
has
super stoked to
this
have
has
you
been an
on.
incredibly easy episode. We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot and nothing all at the same time.
It's easy when the conversation stays flowing. Like it's one thing when we're like, okay, that got real deep real fast, so let's talk about.
I don't think we've ever had more than like a couple seconds of silence before something else comes up. Conversation always seems pretty easy.
The weed helps.
Squirrel.
Aliens. Cut the aliens. That's always my default with my clients too. If I don't know what to talk about with them, I'll just sit there. I'll probably stew about it for a minute too. I'll be like, I'm gonna ask him this. I'm gonna break it to him. When am I gonna break it to him? I'll be like, so UFOs and everything going on with that. What do you think? People be so like caught off guard. I'm like, I'm just curious.
Jordan and I,
what does someone else think of that?
our doors are directly across the hall from each other at Red Tree.
It's happened yesterday.
Jordan must be getting bored.
And I'm working on Laura. She's been a guest on the show.
I don't think it's out of boredom. I think it's just out of this is my chance.
But I'm just hearing him, and that, like, I hear the silence, and then I hear the. Do you guys know anything about aliens? And I literally just like stop tattooing. My machine's still running, and I just like scoot over into his room. I was like, "Are you talking about aliens? Talking about aliens again?" His clients were both just like.
Totally people that probably
Totally
don't talk about
looking at me.
talk about aliens
That's
either.
hilarious. That's hilarious.
I can't assume too much, but I didn't think they were pretty caught off guard by it. The next 15 minutes we're rambling.
So
I like it. There's not gonna be a conversation. Sometimes this is my chance. All right.
So one thing that like at breakfast we were talking about, we still got a few minutes. So one thing that I would love to touch on just for a little bit, because you were talking about like how, stand up your team is at your studio.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think are some of the things that would define good bedside manner for a tattooer? Like as a collector, what are your standards for good bedside manner?
Well, comfortability obviously is number one. So like just communicating with them in a nice way. And like, I think a lot of people either are very intimidated when they first come into a tattoo shop or they get very nervous. So what I like to do is kind of just be like, oh, like I'm kind of nervous too. Like, it's so nice to meet you. Like, let's like get rid of our nervous energy before we kind of make any wild decisions. Cause I feel like a lot of people get flustered. So like, I appreciate that where like you walk in, you're like, hey, you want a water or a coffee or like, have a seat, you know what I mean? Instead of just like swarming you or whatever. We thrive on a private studio type of basis. So we don't have any phones or walk-ins or anything like that. So like when we're with our client, we're totally focused on our client and that client only. I think that's super helpful because the client gets your full respect. But we also have a pretty we don't like talk shit, you know what I mean? We don't like to make fun of people. Like there's like an old boys club type of deal in the tattoo world where like, I don't get it. Like it's cool, but like there's so many other ways to have a conversation besides making fun of somebody and then trying to go off of that conversation. Like you can just say like, hey man, like I really like whatever, you don't have to be like, oh, why'd you do that? Like this is so much cooler. Like there's just ways to phrase shit where it just makes people less on edge and more comfortable. So I really appreciate that level from them because it's not like, oh, I'm going to make fun of you and then we're going to talk shit all day. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, like we actually genuinely care about each other's lives. And like, we want to know how we're doing and like mentally and socially, and we want to help each other thrive. So like when I'm getting tattooed, the thing I cannot stand, well, I can't stand it in general, but like, just like the bicker, confrontation of what's going on in the world today. You know what I mean? It's just like, we get it. Like the world's really bizarre and fucked up and everyone has their own opinions, but like, I'm already in pain. And now you're making my ears in pain because you don't want to get vaccinated and this dude does. Like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, that's the stuff that I just like nix. Just like, don't talk about religion or whatever, like that rule. It's almost like that. Like, just be nice and be normal and don't be upset,
Cool.
Be nice and be normal. I like that. I like that.
It goes such a long way, to just ask someone like genuinely how they're doing and like genuinely what their hobbies are and their interests. Like people have, I think, forgot how to have conversation without leading into some sort of conflict. They forgot that people do have other hobbies than them and like that's okay. Like people forgot that you can learn from other people in the nicest and easiest of ways. So like that's hopefully what I try to bring into the studio, and maybe like I said, like boys are going to be boys. They're going to do whatever they want to do. and have stupid conversations, about whatever. But hopefully it doesn't make the clients feel uncomfortable, So I try to, I don't know, I also try to be not the mom, like the cool aunt of the studio. It's like if anyone's feeling like type of way, be like, hey, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like leave them alone. So, I think just like a general respect for people would be great in all tattoo shops.
Yeah.
That's a good point. General respect. That's the solution. Like we spent all hour at breakfast before the show kind of like ranting about some things that have been going on the interwebs, and you just summed it up perfectly.
Yeah.
Just
keep it simple, stupid. That's my mind.
Kiss it.
Kiss it. Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah. I just, as a whole, I don't understand the non-ability to communicate with general public anymore. It seems like everybody's so wrapped up in whatever's going on in the day that even saying hi to people pisses people off anymore. You're saying like make eye contact with somebody in the grocery store accidentally, and you're just like, hey, and they like look at you all funny. I'm like, sorry, we were both looking at green beans. Our eyes met. I felt like we were supposed to do something there. Well, hello. Didn't mean to offend you by greeting you. I'm sorry.
You have to like kill those people with kindness. I just like flash like a smile at them and hope that like it transcends and like changes their day. And if it doesn't, like who cares? Like I'm still happy. You know what I mean?
You know what my favorite is when you get shot that look and it's like, would you like me to reach that for you?
Yeah.
That's always nice.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think we've had an excellent show. I think we could probably start wrapping her up.
I think so too.
Rolled and lit a blunt to wrap up the show.
Well, we got to pack everything up.
We got to clean up time.
Yeah, we got to put
Like
things
I'm not
away.
hitting it. I just thought it was great. Like, hey, we're gonna end things.
It's a wrap up blunt. We're wrapping it up.
Yeah, this is the wrap up blunt, Ben. Good observation. Thanks.
Emily, thank you so much. It's been
great.
awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really been a
Yeah.
blast.
Definitely.
It's
Well,
been excellent.
maybe we'll have you on again in the future if you ever want to.
Totally. I'll be around.
Heck yeah.
Thanks, lady. It was awesome to meet you. It was awesome to talk with you. I feel like next week I'll be in Vegas, so I'll be coming in live from out there. I'll probably just haul up in the hotel room and chill for a little bit. Or maybe I'll get froggy and just like walk down Fremont Street live and just
Nice.
cast from my phone. Yeah, see what happens. See what happens once it gets to like the 20% mark. Like, okay, I'll go up to the room and get on the laptop.
I'll give you my anchor. I'll give you my charger.
Oh, I've got my charge too.
We can make it work. We'll
We'll always make it work.
Well, is Lauren, you still there? Lauren's
I don't know
not.
if we got Lauren yet.
That's okay. Well,
Well,
we'll wrap this up. So
you guys know where to catch us?
tattoocollecting.com.
Yeah, thank
Pretty-
you guys. I'm here. I was just on the side, but great episode today. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, we're super stoked. Lots of cool stuff coming with the TCP and the Reinventing the Tattoo app coming soon. So stay tuned for the coolest information, and also the ease of access to all of this stuff will be nice because we are going to have
24-hour access to Tattoo Talk.
Mhm.
It's going to be great all the time.
on your TVs, on your tubes. All
It's
right,
going to
guys.
be real.
Well, thank you so much. We will
Thanks for
see you
joining
all
us,
next week.
everybody. See you next week.
Thanks, Emily. Thanks, Lauren. Bye.